And we are live! I decided to go live about 5 minutes early. And that way we can talk about P1 through P4 if we need to. Hi everybody, how is everyone doing? Tethys, good to see you, glad to have you. I gotta remember, I'm not usually doing the usual crowd, so probably won't have that many people. And we'll just be doing it. For those of you who are unaware, this will be going through P5 through P8, which makes sense, obviously. It is the Abyssos tier, after Asphodelos. Lore, good to see you, glad to have you. Since we're here, I guess we only have 5 minutes, so we won't go through my full video. But major things that happened in P1 through P4. We came down to here in Aporia, met Claudian, and they had found a crystal of the convocation that had come out from the ethereal sea. But, well, it wasn't a crystal of the convocation, but it was a crystal of the ancients, but it had no convocation star pattern on it. Interestingly, that crystal is the same color as La Habrea's crystal was from our time. Whereas the La Habrea of past times crystal was red, but it's interesting. Anyways, so we take that crystal and we go back onto time. We go back onto Elpis. We fall onto Themis, who's definitely not Elidibus. Remember, during 6.0, when we went into the Crystal Tower, Elidibus remembered seeing us, but he couldn't figure out why. And then at the end of 6.0, there's a cutscene of Themis staring onto down upon from Elpis, and waiting for his falling star. And you can tell because it's Elidibus's voice, and it's literally Themis. So Themis is Elidibus. So we fall into Themis. Themis is like, oh, my friend Azem told me to wait here, but he said he shouldn't come. He said they shouldn't come because, for some reason, because maybe they don't want to meet us for obvious reasons. Then, so you and Themis are on the same. Themis is there to investigate what's going on with Pandemonium because something's up with it. The convocation or a group affiliated with them sent him. Then this group then those two go meet aboard La Habrea. La Habrea is like, okay, cool, it's dangerous down there, yada yada yada, go find out shit. They send them down into Asphodelos. Then when they get down to Asphodelos, they're like, oh shit, something's wrong and something's trying to break out of here. And then a random warder comes running at them, is like, Jesus Christ, I've got to save everyone, turns into his truest form. And this is Erechthonios. We defeat Erechthonios, which he tells us his name is Erechthonios. Interesting element on top of his head is La Habrea's mask, which could be indicative of a couple of things, including what we'll come to find later is his father's influence. Erechthonios is like, shit went wrong, we don't know what's going on exactly, let's go save my friends and the work that we do in protecting the creatures and ideas. No way, that's Elidibus. No. Jade, good to see you, glad to have you. After we do that, we're like, okay. Erechthonios is like, I know how to bind things, but I'm too weak. And Themis is like, I don't know how to bind things, but I'm very strong. So they team up together, and we go fight P2, which is a hippocampus, which, we defeat it, we weaken it, and then they're able to bind it and put it back into place, basically. Because the purpose of Pandemonium is to take very dangerous creations created by the ancients because of their creation magic, creation TM, and study them further. So then they're like, okay, well, we gotta keep going in, we gotta go further, we gotta find the key word of this place. His name is Hesperos. Hesperos is, was a very kind man, very nice guy, helped Erechthonios a lot. So but they know that in order to get further into Asphodelos, they need to get past the Phoenix. So they go in, they fight the Phoenix, they beat the Phoenix, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, Alucard from Symphony of the Night appears. No, actually, it's Hesperos, and Hesperos is like, yo, y'all nothing. Y'all ain't shit. La Habrea is my everything. I'm a La Habrea stan, and I have combined myself with a creature of myth. I am now Hemitheos. A Hemitheos is someone who has combined themselves with a creation or a creature of myth and themselves. It literally, Hemitheos is literally half god, half deity. So they combine, so he's combined himself, and it's a Virocalcos, which is basically, it's a fucking Grecian vampire. And then he's like, also, you're the son of La Habrea, and you're a disappointment, Erechthonios. And Erechthonios is like, I am! But why is it always about La Habrea? So then they leave. And so then everyone leaves to reconfigure what they're gonna do. Erechthonios talks to Themis, is like, yep, I'm La Habrea's kid, and La Habrea fucking sucks, like we all know. Then he explains that his mother is dead, and part of the reason he has had a complicated relationship with his father is because, when his mother chose or somehow returned to the star, his father took her place and just didn't seem to mourn her at all, which I'm sure is not suspicious at all. then everyone's like, okay, we need to go back and invite Hesperos, and we're gonna bind him. And it was like, cool. Everyone runs in. We fight Hesperos. We kick his ass. Some cool ass tune music plays. And then when we go to try and bind him, he's like, fuck no, I'm going out on my own terms. Stabs himself with his own sword and dies and returns to the Aether. And then there's no answers as to what the fuck happened. Then from there, we're like, okay, well, let's go into Abyssos now. And then all of a sudden, some sort of dark eldritch feeling enters. Like, Themis can feel like something stirs in the depths of Abyssos. And then a giant warding sigil appears, blocking our way. So then they're like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to stop for now. Yo, Warrior of Light, why don't you go return back to the source and give him a report and take a rest? So we do that, and then we come back to Claudian. Claudian's like, this is very fascinating. And then we give him back the crystal, and we head on our way. But then Nemgigi, who is his little Lalithilian scholar ally, is like, okay, but could you tell me extra details so I could write some fan fiction, please? Abel, good to see you, glad to have you. Cathra, good to see you, glad to have you. Yeah, Cathra, I also, if you want another version of the recap I just told you, on our channel, we just put out a 15-minute long recap of all the events of Pandemonium Asphodelos. So, let's get started on Abyssos. Oh, this is gonna get eldritch as shit! I'm so excited. I may not do voices, we'll see. Lendria, I've made a breakthrough. After uncountable days and nights, I finally hearkened to the crystal's whispers, and I must say, there's an MGG. What are your current expectations? Do you mean current predictions or current expectations? My current expectations is this is gonna be a bomb-ass fucking raid tier, with great music and interesting fights. The fights are going to be, that I can think of from predictions, Carbuncle, Hemitheos of someone combining themselves with a tree, Hemitheos of someone combining themselves with a snake, and if we go by the poster, whatever the final thing is, it might be something to do with a raven, unless the snake thing is actually supposed to be, in general, a chimeric creation. So, yeah, we'll see. If you have specific, it depends on what you mean. Professor oh, actually, it's a Lalithel. Where's my coins? Tails it is. Professor Claudian, where are your manners? While I understand all too well your enthusiasm, I must remind you that even though I was academically inclined, prefer a composed recounting of events. My predictions is we're gonna meet Laha. Laha's got a lot going on. The question is whether evil Laha is a byproduct of something Laha's keeping contained with himself. There are reasons that Laha Brea is keeping his son at arm's distance. There are reasons that he's doing it. They may not be good reasons, but there's definitely reasons. I don't think Laha Brea of, the Laha Brea that we're meeting is the Laha Brea of our time. I think his crystal, if anything, proves that. My hope is we get more on the Heart of Sabik, but probably not. Although, like, an answer to that in, like, the final tier would be good. I think whatever affected Hesperos is affecting the other warders, which is why they turn themselves into Hemitheoi. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's so many ways they could play it, and especially if they're making it Eldritch, we're gonna see. Ah, yes, but of course, my apologies. Lendriel, being consumed by my research for so long, I'm afraid I have quite forgotten how to engage in civilized conversation. In that case, perhaps we should start from the beginning, with the crystals set adrift upon the ethereal tides, containing the memories of a party yet unknown. Oh, they're gonna re-explain it. They cried out for deliverance from Pandemonium, where the ancients kept volatile creatures under lock and key. You yourself witnessed the power devouring the facility from within, and the advent of a divine monstrosity wrought of mythic beasts and powerful mage. Fortunately, your martial prowess and combined magical talents of your companions, Themis and Erechthonios, was sufficient to restore order at the circles of Asphodelos, but the greater threat remains. In the depths of Pandemonium, a presence yet stirs, its intentions and identity shrouded in mystery. That is the issue at hand, is it not? The question is how much does Laha Brea know and how much is he a part and parcel? Since you returned to us, we worked tirelessly to discern the nature of crystal. In the process, I detected an anomalous etheric signature, which I believe arose from the memories stored within. Analysis of the pattern suggested a feeling of loss or yearning, specifically the yearning to be made whole, and indeed, ambient readings have revealed a faint but identical signature. This can only mean that another such crystal exists in our time. Yes! I know where this is going. So, my friend, I must depart and search for it forthwith. By tracing the matching etheric signature to its source, I believe it will be a simple matter to find our crystal's twin. Professor, will there be an expedition be carried out by only us, or will Ledriel grace us with his protection? I'm afraid he has more pressing matters to attend to, my dear. Rusino, namely, to seek out the secrets which lie nestled within Pandemonium, where this all began. From all that we have heard, it appears that the time traversal from the crystal's tower is not fluid. That is to say, one can but travel in predetermined intervals. It would be prudent to check in on occasion, in case there are any unanticipated changes. I've watched a couple of people run this dungeon, not one show me when, where, why, just the fight from start to finish. I could care less about the fight, I want to know why. Yep, we're gonna, that's what we're here for, Cathra. This ain't just about the fight. As for you, my loyal assistants, I would ask you to remain here and continue cataloging the Ancients' creations. Probably should have put that in the title more. You can't mean, do you intend to search for the crystal on your own? Why, yes, that would be the most efficient use of resources, would it not? In fact, I've already commissioned a ship and a pilot for the very purpose. I trust you take good care of the laboratory in my absence. Where are you off to? La Habrea's crystal shouldn't be sundered. No, of course! Guys, of course, I've been trying to figure out for forever. Well, if the crystal came from the past, why would La Habrea's crystal be here in the present? But the thing that's important to remember is that the crystals of the convocation that exist, the 14 crystals that exist in our time, were not created by their convocation members. They were the members of La Habrea, Elidibus, and Emmett Selk working together to try and create recollections of those people and their friends in their seats in the time of office. So of course La Habrea could have had a separate crystal that could have been left behind during the sundering. It's so simple! I apologize for a somewhat abrupt nature. When progress is in sight, Professor Claudian tends to become blind to all else. Mr. Light, good to see you, glad to have you. Indeed, he's been worse than usual. While I cannot fault him for his excitement, I do wish he would spare a thought for those around him. For reasons unknown, the crystal seems loath to be overheard. Much as it spoke only to you last time, none but the professor has been able to capture its ethereal yearning, which has served only to convince him that he can solve the puzzle on his own. Surely, after some time alone, he'll come to remember how valuable we are. The search for the crystal seemed to be a simple enough matter. Let him have his adventure, and upon his return, I'm certain he'll be back to his usual self. As for you, Lendriel, it may be best to return to Pandemonium, as Professor Claudian suggested. Speaking of which, I did have a request of my own to make. Traveling to Pandemonium requires you to pass through Elpis, correct? There's something I would have you investigate in my stead. While those creations combined within Pandemonium are considered to be failures, I doubt that's their whole story. Good idea. Yeah, NemGG, I've been thinking the same thing. Barring exceptional cases, they must have been under observation in Elpis before being consigned to their shackles, and if we know anything about the Ancients, it's that they would have kept thorough records of the results. Ah, brilliant. Delving into these records may shed some light on the creatures Lendriel has yet encountered. If your theory proves correct, that is. While there's no guarantee, it certainly beats the current strategy of rushing forward blindly with only his strength to carry the day. For your own sake as well as ours, please unearth what information you can. I don't know why, but I always read NemGG as a male, and the only reason I know NemGG is a female is because of making that video for Asphodelos. Okay. Let's Gengo says it's law. Second. Also, my leave system. I left one crafter unleveled, and I didn't realize it. And I went to go turn in some leaves to get them finished, and the leaves UI is broke, so that's great. Oh right, I didn't do all the quests on Lendriel. I forgot how many I have still to do on him. Oh wow, I think I just left all of Elpis on Lendriel and done. Should go do that later. What happens when you don't have time to play. Venus! Definitely not Elidibus! Ah, I did not expect to meet you here of all places. You seek records of Pandemonium's creations. Master Themis has just finished perusing the very same. I should not be surprised that we both arrived at the same conclusion. Luckily, I have saved you the trouble and gleaned what information I could. Go, Themis. Ah, so you know each other. I was dreading having to once again scour the archives, but perhaps instead I'll rest for a spell. If there's nothing else, I shall take my leave. Ravio, good to see you, glad to have you. Yep, just Themis. As should we, for I have undone the warding sigil blocking the entrance to Abyssos. I came here merely to chase an idle suspicion while awaiting your return. Fortunately, while Pandemonium's protective wards continue to be assailed by our unknown foe, there have been no fluctuations so great as to make me doubt Eorzean's capacity to keep watch over Asphodelos while I'm away. He works diligently to master internment. Then he might deliver the creations back to their cage by his own hand. I thought it best to give him time to hone his craft. And since fate has brought us both here, I would ask you to accompany me while I attend to another matter. More idle suspicions that I would like to chase down. Rest assured it shall not take long. I simply have a few questions to ask an acquaintance of mine. Come, he has agreed to meet us near the Neos to Pandemonium. Thank you, Tethys. Should be far over here. Yep. So I was capturing footage with Ray for the Asphodelos thing, and she sent me some footage of people talking during this time, right? You know, stars in the sky, dark of night, and all the shots needed to be during the daytime. And I'm like, Ray, is there a reason that this is at night? She's like, no, it's day. See, it's light out. There's stars in the skies. No, but it's light. There's, you know, dark. Night is dark. Right, but. The clock, you could just, the clock will tell you it's 12:30. It was pretty funny. And also, if she knows that I said this on stream, she is going to murder me. So, if there are no streams after this, and they find my body, you know who it is. It's funny, the rising action of this piece is actually kind of like the rising action of Blinded by Light. No more MSQ replay. Well, only if I die. I mean, if you can quell the Ray rage, you know? Oh man, I'm so excited to get back to Heaven's Word, but oh man, there's also so much good in 6.2. As I have pondered our expedition into Pandemonium, I could not help but be mystified by how strongly the warders we encountered felt for La Habrea, whether it be for good or ill. Hesperos and Eorzean were two sides of the same coin. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion, while the latter looked to his father with bald hatred. I would not expect a familiar such as you to understand this, but such extreme emotions towards a single individual are quite rare indeed. Naturally, I feel gratitude towards my mother and father, yet we are all equals in the larger picture of the star. The view is not unique to myself. It is more or less accepted as the way of things. By contrast, the researchers of Pandemonium seem to view La Habrea with a feeling approaching obsession. Whether driven by love or hate, they have all been drawn to him. There were many other aspects of the facility's particulars I found troubling besides. I decided the best course of action would be to go straight to the source and pose my questions to a member of the Words of La Habrea. We don't know where Elpis is geographically. You can make suppositions, but we don't know for sure. If you look down, you don't see it. It is high above the planet. But like, we don't know if geography in a meaningful way is similar between sundered reflections. I mean, the fact that all the sundered reflections have the same geography, at least as a starting place, like you can overlay literally Norvrant on top of Eorzea, makes me hazard a guess that the geography of the sundered world, or the unsundered world, is akin to, if not the same as, the source and everywhere else. We don't know for sure. We don't know. That's pure speculation. But it would also make me think then, if that's the case, would you expect the ruins to be in the same places? So for instance, would Amarot been effectively where the Indigo Deep is now, because of where we find it in the Tempest? Apologies to have kept you waiting, Master Themis. I understand you are conducting an investigation of Pandemonium, and I wish to know of its origins. That's weird. It looks like the exact same speaker as last time. I mean, he was the one who let us in. Indeed. In particular, I wish to know why exactly Pandemonium was built directly under Elpis. Finally! Yeah, why build the fucking hell under Hope? The facility is overseen by words of La Habrea, after all. Why keep it so close to Elpis? Whose governing body has no say in its day-to-day operations? I guess it kind of makes sense if you think about the creations being created in Elpis, a quick way to get them down there. At first, I thought it to be simply a matter of convenience. Those creations which were deemed failures by research on Elpis could easily be ushered into their new homes. I gotta stop talking right before they say the thing. Imagine my surprise when a trip to the archives revealed that many of the creatures were sent from organizations beyond Elpis, including from the words of La Habrea themselves. Given this, albeit limited information, I cannot help but feel that the Academia Niter would have been a more fitting locale. What does Elpis have that cannot be found there? There are fitting questions, and ones we have asked ourselves many times in recent years. Alas, the nature of Pandemonium's construction does not lend itself to recollection. When first it was built, circumstances weren't as they are now. As you surmised, the majority of the creations kept within Pandemonium were sent from Elpis. Yet as the years passed, interests changed. Failures in creation deemed too flawed even to submit to Elpis paradoxically drew the attention of Pandemonium's researchers. Yeah, I think the topography may be completely different as we see the first... in the first even, but the geography itself has to say. Yeah, well, but the thing about the topography, too, is that the topography being... when you're separated by 10,000 years, how much might the topography change, too, right? So, yeah, I think you're probably right, though, Hydra. Good to see you. Glad to have you, by the way. That is quite the change in the fact it almost runs counter to the facility's original purpose. Who is it that decided which creations will be subject of research? Master La Habrea, such authority is reserved for the chief keyword, and he has taken it upon himself to step into that role. So if Pandemonium's resources were being misused, it would be under La Habrea's authority, correct? I think La Habrea might know about the final days. I know not what you're suggesting, but the keywords also hold some sway with the facility. Not even Master La Habrea would be free from their scrutiny. They are duty-bound to report any irregularities as soon as possible. Although I admit, as of late, their communication has been somewhat sporadic. We but recently received a report from one of the keywords stating that all is well within Pandemonium's halls. You reserved word? Really, and you are certain that a keyword sent it? Yes, of course. A communication suffered a temporary obstruction, but I can assure you that the words did their due diligence in confirming the identity of the sender. Thank you. This information will be helpful to my investigation. Themis will remember this. That will be all for my prying. Ragu-chan, good to see you, glad to have you. 6.2 is very fun, very much agreed. Then I shall take my leave. While you are yet permitted to conduct your investigation freely, I must remind you that the warder's work is delicate, and it would be remiss to disturb them for longer than is necessary. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. All is well, a blatant lie, and to that we can both attest. One of the remaining keywords is most certainly in league with the party behind this, if not already a hemitheoi. Let us hurry. I know not why our adversary sent the report, but 'tis plain that we must return to Pandemonium with haste. No, hey, Hydra, please, don't say anything. Don't even, say, oh, it's exciting, it's good. Please just avoid any comments about anything that is ahead of where I am. That is, I really, really don't like spoilers, and I'm very sensitive, even just, being, pre-warning, oh, it's so awesome, is, just, makes me focus on that rather than focusing on it. I'm very much not a fan. You speak Japanese very well. Oh, thank you! 僕の日本語が話せても、ちょっとだけ。ちょっとだけ。I've had a lot of practice saying that phrase, too. Sorry, I didn't realize. No. Hydra, the reason I was as emphatic as that is you didn't realize, you may have not known. You're good. No one needs to feel bad about it. I'm just saying that now so people know. These have been a lot of fun. Hey, go. Good to see you. Glad to have you. And, yeah. Unless you're talking about this, in which case, if you're trolling, then, whatever on you. I cannot guess as to why the false report has arisen now, but it certainly bodes ill, as does the knowledge that our mysterious mastermind has at least one more keyword to a puppet. Regardless, they have tipped their hand, and we would be remiss to leave Erechthonios at the mercy of their machinations. Let us hope no harm has befallen him. Yes, we're gonna see Carbuncle. That's not a spoiler because we knew Carbuncle was coming. We knew about Carbuncle. We knew about Hemitheoi tree and Hemitheoi Chimera thing. Xran, good to see you. Glad to have you. Xran, I'd love to talk about that in just a second. We may not have a bunch of downtime too because of going over 6.2, but definitely would love to answer that. Not quite. I've traced these sigils countless times, yet still I lack the strength to maintain the spell. Yep. And now time works against me. I can no longer be victim to my own aptitude. Yep, I knew this was going to happen. He's going to be on a path to gain strength. Erechthonios, I really do believe, is our La Habrea. Oh. Hey, that's the Phoenix's thing. There is something to be admired in such single-minded effort, even if your methods leave much to be desired. You allowed this familiar to catch you unawares. Have you set your sights so high as to forget you walk upon the earth? So there's a lot of problems with that Hexa that I think people don't necessarily realize. We're gonna get through this cutscene and I'll talk about it. I know this creature, a familiar of the Phoenix, but the monster's locked away. That is in spirit, in spite of the trouble I went to in freeing it, I might add. Begrudge me for addressing you in this ill-fitting form if you must, but with control of Asphodelos wrested from my grasp, 'tis simply the best I can offer you. Hide if you will, but mark my words, I will find you and make you pay for the chaos you've sown. Now, there is no need for such hostilities. A calm heart stays the course. The wisdom of La Habrea, your father. And how would you know what wisdom he speaks? I've heard those words many times, the scolding of a tutor whose students struggled to grasp that most rudimentary lesson, seething with disgust. No. I've not told that to anyone, not even keyword Hesperos. That can only mean one thing. That you still insist on mocking me. Stop this farce, La Habrea! At last you move to keep up. Pity that you remain behind, nevertheless. Not La Habrea, it's whatever La Habrea either locked away of himself, or it's the reverse image La Habrea, but why he looks younger is a question. Interesting question. What? As ever you are, always you fail to learn, fail to understand, fail to act. And though fate deigned to offer him an escape, you remain here. You are bereft of magical prowess and common sense, both. But you need not despair. Dull though you may be, you are yet indispensable to Pandemonium's great experiment. There's the affection I remember. Tell me, did I ever once measure up to your expectations? You shall take pride in that, and rejoice to see your wish fulfilled. What wish? Come, and all shall be revealed. All this rage, this hatred is but a consequence of ignorance. Our desires align more than you know. What are you? Uninvited guests join our reunion. It seems fortune no longer favors you. Do you think I have any interest in listening to your prattle, let alone bowing to your will? I am no longer a child, and my faith lies with those who have earned it. So these are the heroes who brought Hesperos low, even as power divine flowed through his veins. 'Tis plain there is a worthier subject to contend with. Indeed. Tell him indeed, Eric. Okay. Xrim, before I continue, let me do you thing real quick. Would love the devs to go in older areas and add newer races to the background flavor as background flavor NPCs. Yeah, oh, sorry, I misread that at first. Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, the thing is that already a bunch of quests have done that, and there are places where that has happened over time. There are some locales that have, like, Viera or stuff. The other thing to remember, though, is that in lore, the representation of our experience of other characters is not necessarily a representation of, like, what the dynamic of the world is. So, for instance, Viera are not very common outside of the Scotty Mountain Range and the Gulmore Jungle. And where they are common is mostly in places like Baja. So, like, there's a reason that you don't see a bunch of them outside of those places. There also are populace in Charlian. So notice that we have them in Charlian partly because there is a specific populace that is there. So the thing, and Hrothgar is a similar thing, right? Like, so the thing about adding a bunch of them to Eorzea, that's actually not the population makeup of that region, both canonically, like, both written in tome, but, and, like, not that that couldn't change as a function of time, but, like, the change as a function of time, in my opinion, is the addition of quest NPCs and other stuff as well. So, I think there's... Would it make... Al-Ra doesn't make sense either. I'm trying to think about... The thing is that there are narrative and lore tie-ins to the reasons that you don't see Viera, Hrothgar, and Al-Ra in Eorzea a bunch, right? And we still do see a decent amount, but one of the ways that I tried to tie that back in is by having populaces in other places, like Al-Ra and Thavnair, and a population of Al-Ra and Wurlit, you know? So, in my mind, I don't know how much it's necessary, and not because I don't like those beings, not because I don't like a diversity, but there's also to be something that's said about having regional populations. Like, Limsa's makeup is different than Thanlin's, Uldah's makeup is different than Almigo's makeup is different than Ishgard's makeup is different than Gridani's makeup, and that's just in Eorzea, you know? The Ancients are a strange race, for people that are so knowledgeable and strong in magic, but seem very fragile. Yeah, so you have to, like, think about it, right? As an Ancient, you are... If you are omnipotent, but not I mean, they're not omnipotent. Like, there's varying in powers, and there's a limitation of their power. But by contrast of a normal Sundered individual, like, the amount of power you have access to is incredibly great. But you live in an idyllic world in a paradise. Because of that, you're prone to make certain mistakes, and you're prone to certain blindness. And I mean, that's like, if I'm assuming you guys watching this, you played 6.0. Isn't that literally the story of the Ancients and of, I mean, in a way, one of the story of the Ascians, of the Na, of Hermes, of the creation of Medion, of like that is that their paradise blinded them to suffering. And without that understanding of struggle, they made many mistakes and they were filled with hubris. Notably, I think I don't know if it was Ishikawa or if it was Yoshi P or if it was someone else, but someone mentioned about developing of Pandemonium, and especially 6.2 onwards, or Abyssos onwards, is that one of the major elements was that it is about the hubris of the Ancients. Just what was that familiar after? Thank you. If you had shown up even a moment later, I shudder to think what would have become of me. There's something I must tell you. I know who's behind this. There is but one person who can hold thrall over familiar, creation, and keyword alike. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Maybe this evil La Habrea is the La Habrea of our time, but I can't imagine so. If anything, it would be a combination of him and Erichthonios, because you'd have to think that if it was the La Habrea of our time, he wouldn't be committed to the restoration of the world in the same way. And also, Themis seemed to look on La Habrea favorably in the short stories, so I assume that it's not. I'm sticking with Erichthonios being our La Habrea. But him having this within him could also explain why La Habrea goes as mad as he does. And so there can be but one conclusion. La Habrea was the driving force behind this chaos from the start. There is logic to that. There are few with the wherewithal to even consider experimentation on such a scale, let alone the capacity to create demigods from man and beast, with the rest of us none the wiser. Just in case it's helpful for anyone, Hemi-Theos is literally demigod. Hemi-Theos is just, I mean, Hemi-Demi, you know, but Theos, deity, you know. Considering the magnitude of this work with convocation and the words, his relatively minor role as the chief keyword comes under little scrutiny. even as it provides him the authority to wield dangerous magics. It may serve as a veil and mantle both. Still, I find the notion hard to accept. The misdeeds perpetrated here could not have been done by the La Habrea I know. You have met him, yes? Do you think he's capable of this? Yeah. We reflect on the man that we knew. If we're assuming this is La Habrea, but come on, you're smarter than that. You're smarter than that. It truly is a puzzle with many missing pieces. Still, I see you do not deny outright the possibility that La Habrea is a man with few scruples. That alone should be enough, but let me assure you, La Habrea holds nothing so dear as his own ambition. While he may not be one to let emotion stand in the way of his mission, I cannot believe there are no depths to which he would not stoop. Although we met but briefly, the impression he left on me stands in stark contrast to your evaluation. Those methods are ever unorthodox. They seem guided by a firm understanding of what is just. Man, I'm probably still going to eat my words on any of my predictions. There's one way to find out for certain. We delve deeper into Pandemonium and pull back the curtain on this mystery ourselves. A wise course. I would not deny the truth if I saw it with my own eyes, even if it was discomforting to behold. Then we must move forward with no excess of caution. La Habrea or whomever is behind this has likely spread their tentacles into every corner of Pandemonium. We can safely assume that other keywords won't greet us with open arms. Agreed. Let us make our way through Abyssos, one careful step at a time. Or one trial at a time. I shall stay by Erechthonios' side in case our enemies think to target him again. Should I trouble you to take the vanguard? Thank you, Tethys. Thank you. As a precaution, I shall safeguard you with a simple spell. This will ensure that should we become separated, my phantom warriors will still come to your aid. The way they justify that. If it doesn't come to battle with the keywords, magic will put us at a disadvantage once again. Luckily, we have you to even the scales somewhat. I trust you shall be liberal with your weight. Ooh, I should ask Rayra to capture the... Well, no, because Rayra's going to have to do the story, so she can't capture the footage with that text box. Abyssos, the fifth circle Noxus. Would anyone like to join me? I'm on Crystal Zalera. I will take a second if anyone would like to join me. Especially, honestly, if anyone wants to duo tank with me so I can main tank without feeling bad about asking for it, I will wait for a second. I'll go grab a drink. I'd be down. Yeah, if you want to, you have to come to Crystal Zalera or Zalera and we'll party up. I'll send you a friend invite or whatever. You have about a couple minutes to do it. Shame, Jade. You gotta be able to play. It's other stuff. I'll give it a minute. Does anyone have any questions so far about Abyssos or Labyrinthos? I play an elemental and at work right now. No worries, Ravia. No worries. This is just in case anyone wanted to join. Jade, are you having to transfer? Because if you are, I don't think we'll have time because it'll take a lot of time. You're working on it? Awesome. What do I have all geared? I've got my tanks all geared. I've got Reapers good to go. Sage is good to go. Yeah, I've got one of each role. And I got Summoner, yeah. You're here? Sweet. Friends list. Oh, are you not my friend? Oh, there you are. Populated. Jade, you're Dest, right? I'm not going crazy? So in Greek mythology, Themis was a female god of order. I mean, have you looked at that boy? That boy's got some femme energy. No, you're Opal. Sorry, Jade. I have a hard time keeping track of who's who. Okay, does anybody else want to join? We're going to be starting in a second here. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me see who's online, because if Destined crew are not in something. No, they're off. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask to do main tank and probably get steamrolled. We'll see. Oh, no. Okay, it's Carby time, boys. Already stoking here with his fucking bangers. It's almost Sephiroth-like. Proto-Carbuncle. Oh, interesting. They're still using a version of the P4 theme. P1 through 4, I guess. I wonder if they're transitioning it slowly, bit by bit, into the theme that's going to be for P8. Yeah, okay, it's a transitionary theme. That's really cool. I'm just a stranger, we are strangers. Yep, it's a transitionary piece. Ooh. Okay, so magic. Magic is frontal cone. Interesting. Okay, that's gonna reflect back, so you wanna be on this side, I bet. I have a suspicion. Yeah, called it. I swear I have not watched a guide or anything. Now watch me get my ass kicked by something else. Okay, are those gonna be AoEs? How are we doing? Okay, those are casting spells. They're gonna shoot in front of them? No, okay, they're just AoEs. So he's gonna do Ruby Glow. Interesting. Okay. So I'm gonna try that. I have a yeah, it reflects them back out. Yep, okay. I don't want to move too much because he's gonna definitely. Searing Ray, okay. God, I love Soken. 7.0 is going to be such an interesting soundtrack. I wonder if it's going to be highly orchestral or still rock. Raid wide. Phase shift? No. Acidic slaver. Okay, you're gonna melt the arena and we're gonna go down, I bet. Yeah, he's gonna break. I think he's gonna break. Yeah. Because we know there's that shot of La Habrea on the like ground below there in the trailer. Yeah. Carby breaking free! Here he goes. Follow me. Mmm, delicious heck dies. Let's do it. Okay. What spell is he casting? Topaz. I wonder if on... I bet you they pull something out like P1S where you can't cross those borders too many times or something when you get to Savage. And you also have to spread in specific intervals. Dude, this is going to be a fun Savage. This is going to be a good Savage. I actually really like P1S. I think it's a very straightforward, pretty simple one. I think P5S is actually going to be in that very same ballpark. And stack. Oh, no, don't run. Ah! I think that's just a raid wide. Yeah, no, okay, I don't need to worry about dodging that. Interesting. I'm gonna bother use my invul now because we won't need it later. Yeah, okay, they grow, so you just have to avoid that, but then also worry about acid. Simple enough. I wonder where the tank swaps are gonna come in for P5S. Interesting, okay. Okay. Oh. Where's... Oh, it's the order! Oh, that's brilliant! Okay, now I understand. I was very confused by that. Oh, my face! Oh, my beautiful... Oh, God. Oh, please don't... Oh, they're voring it. Or they're voring it, aren't they? Yep, okay. I guess we had enough time with Cerberus. Cerberus was long enough ago. It was almost a decade. Oh, that's not good. I'm strange. Oh, they got the other tank before me. Ah. There, I got him. Gotcha. This is fun. This is a good normal. The player base is going to keep getting better and better because, like, there's a gradual evolution for the baseline to improve on a curve. Because, like, this is harder than some, like, this is harder than ARR extremes, right? Okay, which side are you going on? Tell me, Carby. Where are you going? And flop sides. I'm just a stranger. We are strangers. I love fucking when I love when they teach mechanics and then fucking layer mechanics. That is by far my favorite thing that they do. And they've been doing that design more and more and more since really Shadowbringers is when I really noticed it the most. Okay. They need the Carby butt. Give them the Carby butt. Yeah, pulled it off. Okay, after this, I'm gonna say little LB. And it's the Reaper. That was fun. What a good fight. Hey, Des, good to see you. Glad to have you. Don't eat the things below the sink. Yeah, tanking blind is so much fun. Problem solving it, yeah. Oh no, tanking is when I feel the most comfortable. I get annoyed when I play DPS. I don't have a lot of fun with DPS. I love playing healer, but tanking's like, if I'm off tanking, I still enjoy it. But you know, like I love being able to. I love being challenged to have to know your shit. And in a blind run, you can't be expected to know your shit, but you're expected to be good enough to try and figure out your shit. And I enjoy that. Definitely going for chest. I'm not getting that chest. Does anyone know? I can hold off grabbing that. If I go into P6S, I don't lose it, right? I don't, I won't, if I go into P6, I will still be able to roll for chest, correct? It's only Savage that does that. If you go on to the next tier, you can't roll. Carbungus. Carbungus indeed. Oh, speaking of, hey Deadpool, would you like to say hi to the stream? I got a pupper. You can rerun for drops? Yep, okay. I'm gonna be rerunning that a lot then. Because I want that chest piece. And so does everybody else. You good boy? Well, actually, if I'm not going for the chest, I can just go ahead and leave then. No, that's a Carbungus. Are you a Carbungus, bud? Should we make you a little hat, like your Cubone hat? You went down? Yeah? Aaron, good to see you. Glad to have you. It's true. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I do want to take a second. As much as I like the armor, I like the armor despite the red circle. I'm worried. I'm worried because like there was the elemental armor, obviously with 7.0 that was, you know, everyone, or 7.0 with 4.0, 4.x. But if they start adding more armor that's got glow effects, stuff like this, they're gonna have problems real quick. And it's been historically a problem in games like Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft, and others. I'm surprised that they put it in there. I wonder if we'll see more like it. I think we should probably see fewer things that are that level of ostentatious for glow effects, if in my opinion. And I'm someone who likes glow effects. It's not that I don't like them on an individual basis, but when you've got an Olympsa full of red rings, let's just say it makes me flashback to 2006. So this is where the research is conducted on creations imbued with poisons and venoms. Ericthonius and I were conveyed not far from here. It seems our foe is finding it more difficult to surprise us. So you guys heard it here, Carbuncle's toxic. Which I assume makes Summoner toxic. Summoner toxic class, toxic job confirmed? Fortunately for you, since they appear particularly keen to seeing you dispatched as quickly as possible. Normal is confirmed to be glowy, just not as glowy as what we saw. I mean, but it doesn't matter. It's still glowy as hell. Like, I've seen a bunch of people around Charlian with it. As Summoner main, I can agree. Right. Even alone, you're a force to be reckoned with. Part of me is glad you emerged victorious, that I might observe you further. Actual La Habrea. Yep, it's gonna be actual La Habrea. Yep. Were the circumstances different, I might thank you for keeping my son alive for this long. But I believe we can forego introductions, unless I have misread you. They're playing it so straight, I really don't think he is our La Habrea. I feel like I'm going to be so wrong, it's gonna be hysterical. Ooh, this actually might give us some interesting info on why they use the term Paragon. Also, those dialogue options are fucking rad. A charming affiliation, but I'm afraid I hold no such position. No, I am La Habrea of the Congregation of 14. If you truly are who you claim to be, then answer this question. That can wait. Ugh! What is this? Now this is curious. The trap I wove at your feet reacts to aether, but you remain unaffected. Such thin aether, and in an unfamiliar composition besides. It is of no matter. I suppose a more direct approach will beget the same result. I would advise you to think carefully before deciding your next actions. Strike me down here and Erechthonios' wish shall remain unfulfilled. Never again shall he meet Athena. Mother, you would dare to hide behind her name! Listen well, Erechthonios. We are of the same mind concerning your mother. You have your allies for protection, so what harm is there in hearing me out? Erechthonios, wait. There's a question I must needs ask first. If you truly are La Habrea, why speak such blatant lies? Bitter in defeat, are we? Say my name. Elidibus! A simple request. Themis, was it? A trifle. No, yeah, okay, it's not the new. That was the other thing, is he's acting weird even for La Habrea. This is the other faux La Habrea pretending, I think, to be La Habrea because he should know he's Elidibus. Themis, was it? A trifle soon forgotten, as are you. Even we are like, yeah, I have my answer. The La Habrea that I know took pride in the convocation and would never suffer its denigration. You sully his station with this farce! Themis, what are you saying? La Habrea and I hardly saw eye to eye, but I know his voice when I hear it. Indeed, he makes a passing fine imitation in appearance and manner. However, the real La Habrea would never call me by the name Themis. There's La Habrea. What troubles have you gotten yourself into, Elidibus? I love that they're playing that like it's some kind of reveal. What are you? Imposter, you have no right to claim that form. The mask. That mask. That's why he crushes the symbol of office. Yep. The man from the poster. What? Who? 'Twas a mask that sickened me to wear. The mask of La Habrea, a man who values his position above all, who would murder his own wife in the pursuit of duty. Yet you would assume my name and wield the powers that are mine by right. Any worth you may have hinges on that which you so despise. Such trite provocations. I will not be goaded into finishing this ere my work is done. Erechthonios, listen well. I am Hephaestos, and it is I whom you should call father. Oh, are we really doing this? Okay, well, here we go. I've been wondering if Erechthonios was perhaps created and not born. I've been wondering that for a while. What in the name of creation? We would do well not to stand idle with while our enemy is about. I believe an explanation is in order. Elidibus, let us return to safety so you may provide it. Ah, that sounds more like the La Habrea I know. Doesn't even fucking say anything. There's a reason he feels that way about Erechthonios, and maybe it's either the death of Athena's in some way his fault, or he's not actually his child, or in like not just in a blood sense, but he's more of a project of Athena. Before we depart, however, I must offer you an apology. As La Habrea said, I am Elidibus, one of the convocation, emissary of their will. Shock! For reasons which do not involve you, it was necessary to hide my identity while investigating this place. Still, that hardly excuses my deception. Please let me tell him that I knew all along. your perceptiveness does not surprise me. When the time comes, it shall make my explanation all the easier to understand. In any case, we have pressing matters to attend to. Let us do as La Habrea suggested and return to the gates. We can speak there. Is this 6.2? Yes, this is 6.2, Rin. This is the Abyssos. Please help! Save him! I wonder if that's Athena calling to us. And then, does she want us to save Erechthonios? I wish we could glam our carbuncle the same colors as Alphino, and I think it'd be cool if we could proto-carbuncle glam. Definitely not proto-carbuncle glam, because you literally wouldn't be able to control them. I mean, I guess it's glam, but, as for, the thing is that the color of your carbuncle is based on the moon, is the stone you have. So there are limitations on what carbuncle you can use, because we only have the 3 colors that we have, if anybody wants to continue to join for future things, whoever Athena is, it says I cannot invite you because you do not exist. This whole live stream is spoilers for patch 6.2 of Endwalker. You have been warned. I mean, it's literally, it says 6.2 in the title. So if you don't read, that's on you. I see Elidibus has chosen to keep odd company. Such a vexing composition of aether you possess. I still don't understand. That's me, huh? Well, I'm friends with you, aren't I, Jube? Oh, right, you changed your name. That's why I didn't. Sorry, Virna. Athena. I'm still not used to that. I wonder if it's because you changed your name. Because it says you're not even in my friends list. You want to try inviting a friend requesting me? As you are aware by now, I am known as Elidibus. After my dear friend Azem and I detected irregularities in Pandemonium, we decided the best course of action would be to hide my station as I conducted my investigation. I am sure La Habrea as well is eager to find out why I hid who I was, so I shall save that story for later. First, I would like to speak of you, my friend. I would love to do Abyssos, but I haven't done the one before that my new character. I've only done the MSQ, which I loved for 6.2 and some Island Sanctuary. Well, then, yeah, you gotta go do Asphodelos. Also, if you want an Asphodelos recap, we just put out a video. Hey, Tethys, could you link the Asphodelos recap video? We just put out a video recapping Asphodelos's. Laha Boomer. Yeah. Still on mine. That's so weird, Jube. I don't know what's up, then. I may break party, have you invite me, and then I'll fight Jade. I'm sure La Habrea as well is eager to find out why I hid who I was, so I shall save the story for later. First, I'd like to speak of you, my friend. Although neither Azem nor I had ever met you in the flesh, you came with his highest recommendation. That alone was enough for me to accept you as an ally without a question. That somewhere in the world, a guiding star so similar to myself was out there amused Azem to no end. There was not a shade of doubt in his heart that you would be a formidable ally. Always remember that Azem also gender is based off what the Warrior of Light's gender is. Furthermore, I have heard stories that Mistress Vana, who held the position of Azem previously, journeyed with a familiar much like yourself. That made the decision to trust you all the easier. There was no question really about this, but this does confirm that Pandemonium does happen chronologically post going back in time. Because when we returned to Elpis, it was not for sure clear that that was the case. What is La Habrea's disposition like so far? All I know. So Rin, I would recommend either going back and watching, or like I can only cover so much. He's stern. He's stern, somewhat cold. He's the La Habrea that you would have expected. La Habrea. She too now dons the white robe of an advisor. If she placed her absolute faith in you, I knew I would be in capable hands. Aware though I was of the path you had walked, I had no interest in exposing you. I merely wanted to meet you, to travel by your side for a while. I may know but a small portion of your whole story, but that is enough for me, to believe you would never lead me astray. I wanted to tell you that. Anyone know, is direct hit or critical hit currently better for tanks? I mean, I'm sure the math hasn't been done, but now that the critical hit stuff is up. No, Rin, so, no. So, it's not that he's not a psycho. Remember, we don't know that this La Habrea is our La Habrea. For instance, the fact that his Confiscation Stone is a different color, it's just as possible Erechthonios or Hesperos is our La Habrea. So it's not that he's not that. The other thing is that in canon, remember that La Habrea went insane because he was partly because he was burning the candle at both ends and was doing everything he could to restore his world. So La Habrea wasn't always a psychopath. The same way that Elidibus went from being Themis, effectively, to being Elidibus that you know in 5.3. That was a part of or Emmett Selk being different. Emmett Selk as Solus being different than Emmett Selk and all that you meet on Elpis. These people have been through a fuck ton. So you were always going to meet them at a different point in their life. Yeah, but it could be Erechthonios. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Rin, you're a little behind on some of the theories. Yeah. Demas ain't no snitch. Okay, Elidibus was supposed to have been Zodiark's heart. Why did he abandon that? Zodiark hasn't been made yet, Cathra. Zodiark has not been created. Zodiark isn't created until the final days begin. As far as we know, it's quite possible that Themis actually has not even necessarily stepped up into the role of Elidibus yet. That wouldn't conflict with the side stories or anything. So the reason that he's not Zodiark's heart is because of that. And he removes himself from Zodiark's heart when the world's sundered because Zodiark can't do anything, and the Convocation needs him. In his mind, needs him because they are. The Convocation needs him because he believes that they need someone to administer. Or no, sorry, he leaves before that. He withdraws himself from Zodiark's heart because after they create Zodiark, people are unsure what they're supposed to do. Are they supposed to? There's the fight over sacrificing all life to Zodiark to bring back the ancients that sacrificed themselves, or to let this new world be inherited by the new life. And he, as the mediator, as the emissary, is coming back to try and help keep things in balance. That was Emmett Selk. Wait, what? That was Emmett Selk. Who are you talking about, Rin? Are you talking about the Heart of Zodiark? Because no, that was not Emmett Selk. Right, but Cathra, what's your point? What's your question? Like, okay, Elidibus was supposed to have been Zodiark's heart. Why did he abandon that? I just explained that. He left being a Zodiark's heart because he believed his people needed the emissary. Him in his station as emissary. Yeah. Yes, Emmett Selk said that. As well as there's some other ancillary dialogue in EE1 as well that helps to further that. They needed guidance. They needed him. Yeah, exactly, Light. I'll do you one better. La who? La what? La he? Okay, let's get Dest. Let's get this first. So, Opalt, I'll be right. Dest, you invite me real quick. See if that works. And then you pass me and invite Opalt, and see if that works. I never understood that, so thanks for the bit of info. Yeah. So remember in 5.3 when he's a child and he's crying over the Convocation stones as some of his memories come back to them, he's saying, I withdrew from Zodiark's heart, that my friends, they needed me. They needed Elidibus. I wonder if we find out why Lahabrea, Elidibus, and Emmett are the only unsundered. So there's a couple possibilities. One of which I'm actually writing a video about right now, which is about time travel in 14. Part of it is that, remember that Vana knew our stories and knew which ancients had to be sundered, and also we know that time had to flow in a linear circle. And so she may have, it's implied that Vana saved them, is one implication. It's stated by, I believe, Yoshi P. In order to make sure that they weren't sundered so that they could fill the roles that they do in creating a fixed loop. That's one possibility. You're just lurking? Oh, okay. Oh wait, hey, now you're in my friends. Oh, Paul's in a cutscene. I thought it was in Charlian. Where does the Asphodelos? It's in Aporia, in Labyrinthos. Right as I start the cutscene. I don't know how long it's been since we last spoke, Lahabrea, and truth be told, I had hoped we never would again. It's not just a bootstrap, it's not a bootstrap paradox. Well, it is a bootstrap paradox to an extent, but so I have a whole video on this, but the thing is that there is no alternative timeline travel in 14, effectively. Because you have the 8th Umbral Calamity timeline, which is an alternate timeline. But the thing about the 8th Umbral Calamity timeline is that the 8th Umbral Calamity timeline can only happen if we go back into Elpis, and the rest, and us going back to Elpis can only happen if the 8th Umbral Calamity timeline happens. So as far as I'm concerned, you look at that, you look at Alexander, you look at us traveling onto Elpis, you look at every instance of time travel in 14, and every single thing, every single one ultimately is a fixed loop. They can have the appearance of not being a fixed loop, but because each of them fundamentally requires the other to begin or to happen, it is absolutely it's all a fixed loop. Yeah, she said that Vanal left a flaw in the sundering. That's what it was. Yeah, thanks, Byakuin. Left a flaw in the sundering on purpose and hoped that Emmett saw it. He did, and La Habrea and Elitis happened to be with him. Yeah. Also, remember though, so it's also important to note that Yoshi lore answers are only are the canon that we kind of use until we get a better answer. They have been retconned, so do not use them as the end-all be-all. And the game text outweighs Yoshi text. What the reason near crossover said it implied that somehow they found a hole through something else similar to that would bring it up as well. But I see now that I was a fool to think I would ever escape your meddling. Just what is that thing that called himself La Habrea? Why is he the spitting image of your younger self? I find it hard to believe you've only just now found out such a being was wreaking havoc in Pandemonium. Did you think matters would simply sort themselves out? I suppose you deserve at least a cursory explanation. I was well aware of the anomalies occurring within Pandemonium, including the fact that Azem and Elidibus had taken it upon themselves to investigate. I saw no reason to insert myself into the situation. For a time, that was. Imagine my surprise. They do, but they don't die of old age. Also, they can probably manifest their physical form any way they wish, so... Imagine my surprise when instead of a formal report from you and yours, I received communication from one of the keywords stating that research and operations were proceeding as usual. While Hephaestos' deception was almost childish in its simplicity, it became plain to me that your grasp on the situation was slipping. So you knew of its existence in the beginning. I can hardly imagine that you would suffer another to masquerade as one of the convocation, not without good reason at least. As you well know, the name La Habrea is but a marker of my station. 'Tis not the name I was born with. Say it, Hephaestos! Say it! Hephaestos has claimed that for himself. Oh, it's Hephaestos instead of Hephaestus. Oh, it must be one of the alternate spellings or alternate name version. The same way that, what is it? There's a couple other that they've done that with. Has claimed that for himself. I cannot fault him for it, as he is my other half, in a manner of speaking. He knows all that I know, my equal in every way. Yet within his heart is not but greed, envy, and desire. All the emotions that we are loath to acknowledge within ourselves. Did he separate his emotions and all of his inner darkness out and make it into an entity? Did he fucking, like, boo from DBZ it? If what you say is true, what purpose would such a being serve? To keep a calmer and collected head. He's a product of experimentation gone awry. A reminder of the days when I was yet young and reckless. I thought him sealed away for good. But it seems time is a way of unearthing the shame we bury. When he spoke of my mother, he looked at you with venom in his eyes, blamed you for her death. Tell me, was he right to do so? Yeah, the Greek version. Well, I mean, like, some of them are, like, modern. There's the, like, modern versus ancient Greek versions. So let's, here. Because there's Hephaestos and... No. Give me the Greek. Give me the actual Greek. Yeah. Yes, the Greek is at Hephaestos. No. So it is even modern Greek. It is Hephaestos. Yes. Yep. You're totally right. Cool. Now we know. I don't have to run with my static until Thursday, so I can actually afford to not have to... I was gonna pentamel and do everything, but I said fuck it. His words were but the rambling of a tortured mind. The hatred and despair he endured has warped his views of the world irreparably. Which makes sense then if he also took over for it. And now that he has awakened, he must be put to rest. If he succeeds in breaching Pandemonium's protective wards, he shall invite disaster onto our star. Okay, Hephaestos is definitely gonna either combine with La Habrea or Erechthonios. I think he's going to combine with Erechthonios, make Erechthonios more powerful, and Erechthonios is going to take over for current La Habrea and in his seat on the convocation. And then, because La Habrea has to sacrifice himself or something like that. Alternatively, Erechthonios doesn't absorb Hephaestos, but still all that happens, but then there's a beautiful tragic irony in him becoming the La Habrea of our time. As chief keyword of Pandemonium, it is my duty to decide the proper course of action. As such, I declare that all research shall be summarily abandoned, the facility destroyed. That may not be the most unwise choice. What? You would leave the other warders to their doom! Is the choice befitting La Habrea? Do you disagree? You speak of duty, and ours to guide our star and its inhabitants upon the correct course. It is no surprise that you would choose annihilation of Pandemonium, if its existence posed even the remotest risk to our people. Yet as you can see by Ericthonius' response, the decision is somewhat more nuanced than that. Azem and I grappled with this conundrum for some time, in fact. That is precisely why I choose to involve myself directly. It was the only way I could truly determine the best solution. And you need not trouble yourself with that further. The chief keyword must prevent the worst from occurring, no matter the cost. Your feelings, Elidibus, are of no consequence. Have you taken even a moment to consider another path? No! You've spread nary a thought for aught but yourself and your damnable duty! You have no idea of the trials that we've endured, the foes that Lendriel has stood against. Lendriel, is it? A being of such aether as I have never seen. What are you? He is the guiding star that shall lead us safely through this. Thanks to his stout arm and steadfast courage, we have subdued the mythic creations and returned them to their cells. Speaking of which, I would hear your opinion, Lendriel. As outsiders, we are in a unique position to look upon circumstances with our vision unclouded by attachment. It's too soon to give up saving others. La Habrea can't be trusted. What was you said about being an emissary? This would be interesting because this could be him advocating for a point between. But this is a Warrior of Light choice. Some might call that murder. Agreed. We still know next to nothing about Hesperos, and I highly doubt La Habrea has been forthcoming with the truth. But we've managed to regain control of Asphodelos. He must be made to see that there's merit in continuing on this path. I have it. Speak in your official capacity as Elidibus the emissary. Yep, okay, so that was exactly what he was gonna, yep. Judge which approach is more sound, and even La Habrea would be compelled to listen. That is his role on the convocation. The point between the mediator, the emissary. As Elidibus, I am duty-bound to assess the matters from a position of impartiality. My opinion as Themis carry no weight. You understand what that means, yes? I do. Even so, you've walked with us all this time. See what we've seen. Based on that alone, I trust you'll find the best way forward. His people really did trust him. Very well. Then in my capacity as emissary, I shall state my judgment. At present, there are merits both in destroying Pandemonium outright and in taking time to rescue its researchers, and neither is yet an impossible task. Therefore, I judge that the most measured choice would be to continue upon our present course. We delve into Abyssos, interring any mythic creations we encounter along the way. You have yet to witness Lendriel's might and Ericthonios' resolve. I would ask that you see our capabilities firsthand, and only then decide if our endeavor is futile. If such is the will of the emissary, then I shall obey. However, indeed I find your strength to be lacking. I trust there will be no objections to the immediate destruction of Pandemonium. You needn't worry about that. We won't fail. You are bolder than I remember. Pandemonium, one of the things that they kept in Pandemonium was the original recipe for Gabi cheese. And you're even more tedious than I remember. Lendriel, come find me when you're finished. Yep, that's it. That's how we know it's the same La Habrea is. Yep. Because he wants to blow everything up. Ericthonios is understandably frustrated, but if we are to conquer Abyssos, we must go forth with clear heads. Pray, lend an ear to his troubles, that their weight might be lightened. Burning brightly and gone away. Okay. Let me invite Opult. If anybody else would like to join, this is your 60-second warning. Oh my god, the friends list takes fucking ever to populate. Oh, no, I do not want to send a tell. I want to invite to a party. We like to party. We like to party. Well, Ren, I would be happy to play once you finish it. Let me know once you finish P1 through P4, and I'll go back and do P5 with you through P8 again, because I'm definitely going to be playing them because I'm going to need the chess piece. Okay. I wonder if they'll let me main tank again. I just got to talk to Eorzean quiz quick. Yeah, because not only do I need the chess piece, but two, I don't plan to do hunt trains to earn my tomestones. So frankly, I'm probably going to be playing a whole bunch with others. I'm gonna probably I'm gonna do a bunch of trial. I'll wait till we do it. Oh, you know what? Now's a good time to say. If you are not part of a Discord, come join our Discord. We talk about all sorts of Final Fantasy XIV related goodness there. It's a good time. Lots of people. That said, also you'll be notified about new videos and stuff. The other thing I'll say though is if you'd like to join, we have one slot open for our T Savage group. We are looking for someone who can join us on Saturdays in the evening, EST, to be able to. We're gonna be doing. We're gonna be doing all Savage content basically, but we also maybe do things like Barbaricia Extreme, depending on what everyone's feeling like. But it's gonna be a thing if you're curious. Is there any chance you'll be covering 6.2 MSQ anywhere? Because I would love to hear your thoughts of when the time comes. So, Rin, if you go on our page right now, there's a video of me playing the entirety of 6.2 MSQ. But yeah, I mean, I can also, it depends on what I can also do a video on it or something. You do have my gratitude, ill-fit as I am to show it at this moment. Without your words to sway him, La Habre would have carried out his plan without a second thought. God, I love Flo. When at first we realized the creations had slipped their bonds, the other keywords did all in their power to restore order. Even though they could have chosen to escape, they remained to aid their allies, standing in the face of danger. I'm certain not a soul among them would wish to see this facility erased from the world, and they don't deserve to be abandoned simply for carrying out their duty. Oh, I literally did the 6.2 MSQ stream the second the servers were live. And besides, Hesperos has secrets yet untold. Secrets that would be buried. Roll credits. If Pandemonium was reduced to rubble, I mean to uncover the truth behind his words, the truth of my mother. While La Habre was quick to dismiss his claims, I failed to see what Hesperos would gain by fabricating such stories. Yeah, as a general, if you're curious if we've made something, I would recommend, why not go check out our page in either the playlists or the front page. As I was told of my mother's death was that she perished in an accident. No one would say more. It was almost as if they feared saying more, in fact. Even if it was not La Habre that dealt the fatal blow, we've seen with our own eyes how quickly he can condemn others to die. I only wish to know at least what befell her. YouTube channel. Patreon doesn't have content. Patreon's rewards in a different way. What do you think, Lendriel? Does La Habre, have any regard for the lives of others? Or will he carry out his duty with another's blood on his hands? Oh, it's definitely Eorzean, and this is a tragic, bitter irony. I like this best. I have no idea what he might be like in this age. This age? Just how long has it been since you last met? Ooh, whoops, almost. Regardless, I'd like you to try to view him as he is now. Another option would be much appreciated. Opinion. Thanks, Tethys. But it's plain there's much to consider. Thank you, Lentriel. It's easy for me to get carried away by emotion where he's concerned. We should focus on the task at hand, proving to La Habre that we are capable of saving Pandemonium and its keepers. The most convincing way to do that will be to regain control of Abyssos. Are you headed out, Tethys? Although I'm loath to admit it, he would know more about these depths than any of us, and seeing as how we require every advantage we can afford. Lendriel, would you speak to him for us? He seems to have a special interest in your capabilities, and may deign to help at your suggestion, if only to see what you can do. Cool. Just want to make sure. Is there any lore reasons for the patterns in the ancient eyes? No, I think it's a, sorry I missed that lore. I think that is just a, one to convey their aether-rich disposition, but also to like more emphatically be like, they're an ancient, they're not just human, they're not just a Hyr. The ancients are not Hyrs. Because that's why they have like some different, like usually typically longer necks, slightly elongated bodies, and the eyes. I think it's just to make sure that you're not like, if you saw one in normal clothes, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's a Hyr. You got a few months. Well, and also, don't forget, we've got 0.5 coming up. Erechthonios appears to have a deep trust in you, and Elidibus tells me you share some relation to Azem. Your unusual aether does not mark you as a familiar. It's unlike anything I have seen, even among the countless concepts I've observed. To think I could have encountered an existence I could not create by my own hand. Azem never ceases to surprise me. No, there will not be MSQ in 0.5, but there'll be a lot to do. And here's the other thing. Even if you really like the MSQ, let me put it this way. If you really like the MSQ, you should be going and doing all the side content, not just for 6.2, but you should be going back and doing Omega, Warring Triad, Crystal Tower, Void Arc. Let me put it this way. The amount of things in 6.2 that are referencing, or Eden, or that are referencing, or the role quests, the amount of times that 6.2 references other optional content in Final Fantasy XIV was insane. In fact, I should even make a list of it, because it was huge. So if you really liked the 6.2 MSQ, and you haven't, and there's optional content you haven't done, go do that. Like, you will be, excuse me, setting yourself up to enjoy 6.3 a hell of a lot more. The previous Azem was much the same, and taking the entirety of the star into the consideration, she came to hold dear emotions and people that a more logical mind would have discarded. This made her act in her own self-interest more often than not. Just as you and Elidibus have conducted yourself in this manner, the true danger of Azem's nature is its tendency to infect all those he comes into contact with. Infect them with hope. Emmett Selk said much the same. Trust that I shall do naught that would violate my duty. And yet you so frivolously invoke your authority as emissary to justify this little excursion. No! He just didn't pick the Machiavellian cold calculated act. He picked an act of, we still have these two options we can execute at any time. We're better to have knowledge of the events that are transpiring. Let us go down that path until we get to a critical junction where we will lose the option to destroy Pandemonium. I think Emmett, like, La Habrea is being blind here, not Elidibus. Elidibus made a very, very sound, reasonable choice. I really wish I'd done Omega and Warring Triad before Endwalker, to be honest. I never finished either until the other day, and it sucks. Yeah, Jade, here's the thing. I will say this, and I'll say this until the end of the time. Like, I know that people don't want them to be required, I understand those arguments, and I don't even necessarily disagree with those arguments, but I will say, if you want to enjoy this game to its fullest, not that you will not be able to understand, not that the story will be incoherent, it does a really good job of making sure as long as you only play MSQ, it is coherent. Think about how much they explained about the Void in 6.1 and 6.2, despite the fact that much of that is already explained in either side content or elsewhere. You can skip yellow quests, broadly. I would say don't do that. There's still so much in them that's so wonderful and helps a bunch. But you should do every blue quest in the game. No question, full stop. And you should try to be doing them in time with where they were unlocked and where you are in MSQ, because they will greatly appreciate your experience of the story. Only your deeds can speak for you now. You wish to know more of Abyssos, I take it. Although I no longer have control over many of its functions, I can yet sense what creations lie within. The chief keyword's reach is far indeed. Well then, what do we have to look forward to? I sense no creation of note. Perhaps they have been made into fodder for experimentation. Perhaps they've been transferred to deeper circles. Yet Hesperos would never allow you safe passage. He has left a trial for you to overcome. I speak of Hegemone, keyword of Abyssos. Although her presence is stained with marks of corruption, it is unmistakable. I think she's P7, I don't think she's P8. I knew her as a woman gifted in magic and blessed with a highly logical mind. While I can sense those qualities within her, still, there's something else at work. That or she's P6, we'll see. That may be why she's explaining her now. And then the tree Hemitheoi is P7. If I hazard a guess, I would say that's because she's already been twisted into Hemitheos, doubtless against her will. Lendriel, Themis, we must rescue her from the cruel fate. If we cannot, we can at least seal her away until we find a means to undo the damage. No. So every raid has 3 tiers, 3 sets of 4, except for there's 13 in there's 13. Every raid will always be 3 tiers. It will always be 4 fights, 4 fights, and 4 fights, except for again Binding Coils, but Binding Coils is weird. So it's, yeah, 6.4 is the end. It always works that way. 6.3 will be the next thing for, not Agalea, but it'll be the other charity. I'm forgetting what the next charity is, but it'll be the next for Alliance Raid. 6.5 will be the final thing for the Alliance Raid. It goes, Raid, Alliance Raid, Raid, Alliance Raid, Raid, Alliance Raid. Your allies make you bold, Archthonios. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how far they carry you. No, yeah, but I'm talking about not Mists of the Realm. I'm talking about Agalea, like the next tier of Mists of the Realm, specifically, Sysmon. Because we know what its name is because of the charities. Yes, it has. Okay. Anyone else want to join? Ready, check? Sorry, I thought that I had unlocked it right then. Let's go. 5, 4, 3. I know, but thank you, though, for the Mists of the Realm reference, yeah. So if you look up what the 3 charities of Greek mythology are, you'll notice that the first one's named Agalea. So the next 2, we assume, the same way that there's like Asphodelos, Abyssos, and I wonder if the final one will be something like Elysium or Elysios or something like that for Pandemonium. Because you have Asphodelos, like the Asphodel Fields, you have like Tartarus, Abyssos, and then the Elysium. Elpis is Elysium. No, Hydra, that's a really good point. Although, I mean, that's not unfair. You may be right there. So maybe then does the final layer become Tartarus instead, or something like Tartaros? I'm still convinced Derek is Oshan. Oh yeah, Sysmon. That's just he either is Oshan or he's one of Oshan's servants or something like that. Yeah, no question. Gotta love Oshan. Yeah, I've been saying that. I literally since the first moment we saw his image when we did 6.1 predictions. Oh, that was weird. I don't know why the warrior's keeping on their... Okay, seismic waves. Wait, the music's already here? Then what's the music going after this? Oh no, it's kind of like a little bit in, so it's gonna be... Okay, so it's... Focus. Koros Ixios. Okay. So she's gonna layer those with the thing we just saw. I don't know why the warrior's stacking on me. Is there like a stack mechanic? Or are they just trying to... Raid wide? Raid wide, yep. Okay, Hemi is for raid wide. Transmission. She's gonna transmit some kind of infection? Okay, they've got tentacles on them now. Okay, that's lovely. I am not perturbed whatsoever. Okay. Okay. Easy enough. I like it. I like it. Oh, it doesn't seem to go. Derek Polninian. Okay. I wasn't paying close attention last time she did this. Yeah, okay, it is just square and square, but then I can switch over this way. Oh, fuck, I need to keep her oriented correctly. Oh no, she does just go to the center to do it, so I don't have to worry about her orientation. Oh, fuck. I'm so glad I played Baja! God, I'm loving these paladin buffs. Okay, transmission, that's easy enough to handle. What's the phase change, though? Why is mine being so delayed? Okay, there we go. Okay, that put me off rotation. That's fine. They really fucking know their audience. They're even fucking having people being tentacled. I don't even want to call these patches horny, because that's not even accurate. But they know how to get the fan base to make itself horny. Okay, she's gonna go north and north, because she went side and side last time. What? It wasn't it? What did I do wrong? Whoa, okay, that's gonna translate so that if that's gonna trade and trade, so we want to be here. Easy enough. Gotta love how paladins can heal themselves. Don't make me drop deeps to... Okay, we got healed. Oh, that's why. We lost a lot of people. That's fine. I can keep myself covered. Swapping... Oh! Ooh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be interesting. And we go. I just gotta keep myself covered while she does res. Okay. I still got invuln up. I can hold on to that. Theos, let's see, raid wide. Hold Divine Veil. Hold her prize. She's gonna be casting this, and I think she'll cast it a second time, which means we'll have an opening. And okay, no, single cast. So look. Okay, did she reset? Because if she reset those, that's why we'll get a reprieve before they teleport again, which people seem to struggle with last time. Okay, we're back and we're going. Full stack. Let's do it. Etheric Exchange is... I don't know. Pandaemonium Signa. Oh, teleport trade. So this one here. Here, I'm gonna say... if people need to know where to go. Raid wide. Ethereal Exchange, I still don't know what that one's up with. She gets... Oh, she goes into swamp. That's, I see. Warping H to the next action to be executed. Okay. So that's going to be more important in Savage. And regular, that's like... But that's how she swapped between. Okay, over here. They did a really good job of, like, making it slowly transform from the Hesperos theme in, like, P5 and now P6 to Dark and Dark, Kitty Corner, and up here. Yep, this is good. Oh, I'm gonna probably get hit by that first one, though. Oh, that Dragoon's fucked. That was a bad time to cast that. Going invuln. Saving it for now. Raid wide. Savage of this is going to be so fun. We're doing just fine. Look away. And quick run back, run back, run back. Sweet. Dude, this is a fun raid tier. I like these fights more than I like Hippocamp also was fine. It was actually a good tank fight, but like, especially on Savage, it was like, oh. I hope the Savage for these are a little less and a little more like, you know? The technical terms. Swap here. Oh no, gonna have to. She went for that Koros way too late. Soken aced it again. I mean, when was the last time Soken didn't ace it, though? Like, let's be honest. I guess some people might argue Stormblood because they don't like that some of those themes as much, but the thing is that he aced it there, and also, I would argue that the Stormblood boss theme is fucking hype as shit, and also the music there is actually pretty good. And the music that I don't think is somewhat weaker, I think, in Stormblood was actually Uematsu, so... I really like the fights in this patch, except for the first boss of the fight of the dungeon. Oh, really? I really liked... Oh, the first boss fight. See, I liked that because I think it's a really good teaching tool, especially for tanks. A certain level of, like, a basic assumption of competence for tanks and other player characters. So I actually liked that first boss of the first boss of the first dungeon because I thought it was not a hype thing. It was more of a testing ground. I'm getting terrible. There's 28 and 27 on the chest now. Everyone's gonna be rolling for that chest. I just don't like doing AoEs on Black Mage. Oh, well, yeah, then that's a specific experiential frustration I get. Music is 100 here. Yep. Wait, did I win it? Really? Oh, what, 27? Okay. Poor guy. Piece of mechanic. As Dark Knight, a majority of mechanics seem to be magic based. I'm throughout living for it. Good. Fucking, I play Dark Knight all of Shadowbringers and fucking I hate, Dark Mind, and so I hate the magical differentiation. Just give me mitigation. Because the thing is that the difference between magic and physical mitigation would be fine if there was a clear delineation for some much more clear delineation and clear use case. But as it is now, just sometimes you don't have mitigation, sometimes you do. Oh, Des, sorry, see ya. Thanks for joining in. My mileage for Dark Mind is insane. Good, good, good. Laugh my way through the machinist, man. Zero already has fan art, safe for work, though. Dude, Zero already has a non-safe for work fan art. I literally found it within the first couple hours because we were on stream and we looked it up. Yep. We're going to need to look up a lot of Greek. Honestly, we don't need to look up much more Greek than we already did. Like, some of this stuff is, like, either has already been used or... Honestly, I expect we look up about as much or less than we did Asphodelos. The stretch your legs fight. I think many jobs need the tome gear, so people go for legs. Ah, no. See, the thing is that I'd rather trade off a couple of points. I'll lose like a point or two of efficiency, but not enough that the only thing that's gonna matter for clearing a savage is really gonna be about, do people know how to fucking do the mechanics? Especially also not playing a DPS. Like, my DPS fucking matters and like mitigation fucking matters, but yeah. We've won. The keyword is sealed away and alive this time. La Habrea can't deny us now. Also, if that red circle appears in cutscenes, though, I'm probably gonna have to make that like my armor for only jobs I don't play in MSQ or cutscenes. That's so good that they're giving a bunch of materia. Direct hit, critical hit. What do I have more of at the moment? Critical hit, 140. Direct hit's 12. We're going direct hit. Our plan was a success, although I hardly needed to tell you that. Hegemon has been sealed away, and now you have no choice but to admit the merit in our methods. Hegemon. Actually, let me look up. Like, that's like, I wonder if it's the same root as Hegemon. Because if that is, then I'm laughing because they've probably just literally named her like, literally just named her leader. I mean, it's a leader, a guide, a commander, a chief. Yeah, they literally just named her leader. That makes me laugh. No, he will not. You have the right of it. I am not so ready to deny the achievements of those I've squabbled with, no matter how strongly we disagree. It's not, the stance he's coming from was not just like that, but also we have not saved her yet. Moreover, this being an aether as thin as retreating mist, unable to wield creation magics, yet powerful enough to subdue a Hemitheos, has made this ordeal far more interesting. Then we have leave to continue. As for that, there is one among you whose very presence puts the others at risk. It would be best to proceed without him, for failure would have consequences that reach far beyond Pandemonium. And for whom do you speak? A warrior who cannot even conduct his duty without aid in this place. Hope alone is not enough to overcome what awaits you. A single misstep will send all to their doom. Literally setting him on the path to want more power. This is a bad idea. So long as we do our part and look toward the allies by our side, even a neophyte can upraise his companions. That's something that Lendriel and Themis taught me. While I do not wish to express my bias, I'm inclined to agree. If my investigation has made anything clear, it is that we are together greater than the sum of our parts. We hope has brought us this far. It drives us to seek the right path, and to act before the path lies closed to us. Then tell me, what is it you hope for? Oh, yeah, can do. Yeah, have a good night, Tethys. Thanks so much for helping. Appreciate it. To see Hephaestus in chains, the surest way to prevent further sacrifices. I'm aware that destroying Pandemonium would rid us of him, but the cost is far too great. And I admit I wish to know how he means to resurrect Athena. And there we have it. You must leave this place at once, and do not think to set foot in Pandemonium again. You are capable, that much is plain. Yet Hephaestus cannot be suffered to live. I shall not allow his talk of resurrection to poison mine or anyone else's mind. Life flows in a cycle. This is known. All souls return to the underworld, and Athena is no exception. She has likely found a new vessel and a new journey to embark upon. You cannot be ignorant to the folly of Hephaestus' words. Even were he to breathe life into a body, the soul contained within would not be your mother's. What if our knowledge is imperfect? What if Hephaestus has discovered something that no one else has? He knows all that you do, understands the bitter reality of the world. He wouldn't pursue the impossible. Further explanation that, like, necromancy is just evil in this world. Think, Erechthonios. I've already explained that he is merely my twisted reflection. Is it worth bringing back your mother if it means others are used to discarded like tools? Pandemonium, daddy issues. Is it worth it to see her once more? Now you have a measured worth of your colleagues' lives? What was that foolish braying about saving them? Oh, sorry, the Labra. Now you measure the worth of your colleagues' lives? What was that foolish braying about saving them? Merely a performance to hide your childish devotion to your mother. Please, such bobs will not get us anywhere. We should first discuss... Kick his ass. You would call me a fool! You who murdered your wife in the service of your ambitions? For the sake of the star, no doubt. Oh boy. Ah! I can hear it again. A voice inside my head. I know who to follow. Hephaestus. Father. Mother. Oh, I love you so. And this voice will guide me to you. Oh boy. This is not good. No, listen. Not. Listen not, Eric. Oh no. No, listen not, Erechthonios. Listen not. That's Athena. Apologies, you taught me that the calm heart stays the course, but I could never even grasp the rudder. Fuck. It's not about La Habrea, it's about the developers. It's not about what La Habrea says, it's about, like, literally every example of anyone doing any kind of resurrection has been explicitly evil or misguided. In the side quests, in the main quests, in the job quests, in the... Yeah, it takes a bit to adjust. Good luck with that one, Rin. Just like... Yeah. Yeah, AJ. Also, good to see you. Glad. Also, to all of you who have arrived, who I have not said it to, and I'm sorry, I've been focused. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Hephaestus is cunning despite his warped mind. Whatever took hold of Erechthonios, it made short work of his reason. From the moment he laid eyes upon me, I could sense his hatred and rage, simmering below the surface. It was but a matter of time until it spilled forth, and that was when he fell into the spell's embrace. Magic woven with such skill that Erechthonios himself failed to notice until it was too late. And if you had been a good father, it wouldn't have fucking happened. If this isn't the measure of Hephaestus' power, then the other keywords had little chance to resist it. We saw his work during our encounter with Hesperos. Doubtless Hephaestus' magic fed at his admiration and envy, until there was room for naught else in his heart. And there was something else besides. Did you not feel the presence of another? There's something even beyond Hephaestus. Oh, yeah, they felt the Athena, I think, is existing. I wonder if Athena's life was given to the wards. As I thought, something was trying to warn Erechthonios, but whom? Could have been one of the keywords? Hydra, if you're gonna travel across data center, do it now, because it's gonna take you a couple minutes if it's gonna do it. So if you'd like to join, you need to travel right now because we're not gonna wait for people to travel. If you people would like to join for P7, now you may want to come join now. Alas, the warning arrived too late. I had already provoked Erechthonios' past to the point of no return. I bear the burden for this failure and my stubbornness. I could but scorn the boy, and Hephaestus knew that. And now I dread to think of the ordeal that awaits him due to my rashness. Then be a fucking good dad! It'll solve a lot of problems. There is time yet to save him. We can easily regain control of Abyssos, giving us a firm foothold from which to brave Pandemonium's lowest level. The enemy is within reach. Yeah, well, and again, remember that, like, Emmett Selk is, like, is literally the opposite of theatrical when we meet him in Elpis. And then think about soulless Emmett, right? You think about Themis Elidibus, and his kindness and his thought towards his friends stuff, and then you think about Elidibus in 5.3, right? So also, it's not just an elevation of who they were. Their times as Ascians, both as a combination of being tempered by Zodiarch, but also just, like, living thousands of years with all that suffering, definitely warped who they were. The other thing is that I think Hephaestos is a representation of kind of what La Habrea is like. So you'd imagine that La Habrea, if he was combined with, well, assuming that Hephaestos is what I think he is, was combined back with Hephaestos, he would be represented. So suppose a few thousand years change people. Yeah, definitely. The way forward is clear. La Habrea, pray tell us all you know of what we shall find beyond Abyssos. Can only assume one more keyword lies in wait. The deepest level of Pandemonium is called Tartaros. There we go! Boom! Yep. So whoever said it, yeah, Elpis is Elysium, Tartaros. We are going Asphodelos, like the Asphodel Fields, Abyssos as an intermedium, and Tartaros. Yep. And your passage shall be challenged not only by a keyword. Hephaestos has laid traps in every corner of its halls. You have no hope of surviving past the threshold. That, I expect, is where Lendriel shall shine. You're right, he didn't do anything evil. Genocide isn't evil. Continuing on. His dissolute aether shall allow him to slip through the traps unimpeded. We saw it when Hephaestos had no effect, and doubtless even he has yet to devise a countermeasure. I'm so weak, I'm strong! Then time is of the essence. Hephaestos is already well aware that you can match a keyword in battle. He will not stand idle while you stroll past his other defenses at your leisure. It doesn't matter if it was the star. It doesn't matter. Your rationalization for why you could commit genocide has no bearing on whether or not it is an evil act. Genocide committed for any purpose is an evil act. Period. And full stop. Period. Agreed. However, the clarity will be indispensable to our success, and I'm afraid I must insist upon it ere we depart. And also, it wasn't for the star. It was so he could have his friend and his life back. The star was just fine and continuing to exist, even sundered. That last one is the worst one of all, by the way, Sismon. You're right. We have yet to discern to what end Hephaestos would use Erechthonios. If you know, I would ask that you enlighten us. And then there is a matter of Athena. Why do you so fiercely rebuke Erechthonios' feelings for his mother? While I understand the very thought of resurrecting the dead is anathema, you act as if grief over his passing should be equally so. How are we to grapple with what plagues our friend and drives our foe if you refuse to acknowledge it? For the scourge. I do acknowledge it. I wish only to spare those that feel its still greater pain. I think you're mistaking. Arthas did do things wrong. Arthas made mistakes. He was trying to do the right thing in defending his people. But he did make mistakes. Emmett Selk, his motivations are understandable. That doesn't mean he didn't do anything wrong. That's really, like, yes, he did do things wrong. He committed mass genocide in order to be able to be with his friends again, as opposed to letting go of the past and letting new life be. Like, having an understandable motivation doesn't absolve you of doing something wrong. Did you mean to protect Erechthonios with your silence? So instead of being honest, you bicker like a child. And so you drove your own son over the edge. That's true. Hythlodaeus did do nothing wrong. He was just a purple-haired boy and the best of them. How dare you? You did. No, you are right. The blame for Erechthonios' fate rests squarely on my shoulders. Very well, I shall lay bare the truth, but only after the foe before us has been laid low. The remaining keyword of Agdistis. She has served the Pandemonium since inception, and her affinity for magic is peerless even among the keywords. Oh, and she's probably the one who got fused with the tree. Hephaestus knows losing her would mean the end of his experiments. He has hidden her in a space unreachable by conventional means. Oh, but your presence makes mockery of such barriers. The scarcity of your aether means that it will be trivial to send you directly to Agdistis. We shall approach as closely as caution will allow. We know where the battle will commence, so I do not anticipate difficulty in detecting your presence. From afar, I shall do my best to provide you with ground on which to fight and phantom allies to aid you. As for the internment, I have yet to think of a foolproof method. Internment shall not be necessary. For here I can sense Agdistis' essence, but it is scarcely recognizable. Hephaestus was more ambitious with her than he was with Hegemon. She has been transfigured such that barely a scantling of herself remains, yeah. We can but take comfort in what mercy the underworld will be to her. That's heartbreaking. Agdistis is cute. Agdistis was cute. Catpoint, I can't let this slide. Yeah, that was pretty funny, guys. I'm with Rin, but I'm also an Emmett Simp, so. Okay. I'm gonna take a second to say this because it's not gonna win me any allies. Guys, you are saying, what you are saying is, I am willing to stand behind a damn near psychopathic genocidal madman because of understandable reasons and because he's charismatic. If you look at history, the reason that you end up with strongmen, the reason you end up with people like Hitler, like, you know, other named figures, is because people are willing to subsume actual ideals for charisma. And I would just point out, even jokingly, that is what you're getting at. Whether it's because hot, because charismatic, because like, oh, I can understand his reasons. You are saying, I am willing to say they didn't really do anything wrong or justify their actions when Emmett Silk is responsible for what happened to people like Tesleen. Emmett Silk is responsible for the horrors that happened to Ardbert and his crew. The Asians are. Emmett Silk is responsible. The Asians are responsible for the death of Moonbrida. The Asians are responsible for the death of Papalimo. They are responsible for so many other things that were not necessary. The 13th is their fault. The 1st is their fault. The loss of the 5th, 7th, 12th, I think those are, I forget what all the other ones are, but their fault. Thousands, millions burned, and are no more because they wanted to see their friends again. Because they wouldn't value life. So even when we joke, just be aware that is what you are supporting. Even if you're joking that will be my response because I feel very strongly about that. And I think if you play the MSQ's 5.0 is very much, that is also the point that the 5.0 is making. So to say like, to simp for Emmett Selk after 5.0, rather than paying attention to what 5.0 and 6.0's point is on that fact, I think ignores the MSQ. They do kick puppies too, it's true. It's a cascading effect of Hermes' fault, but Hermes, yeah. Hermes is it's a slightly different and interesting conversation as well. Hey, don't rain on my headcanon. I'm not raining. I will rain on headcanon. If people try, here's the thing. Enjoy the fuck out of your headcanon. In fact, let me tell you things that will help you enjoy your headcanon. But if you try to mention your headcanon while we're talking about canon, I'm gonna fucking come down like a fist of justice. Okay. Who's all joining us? Hydra, I think you're joining us. Hydra, what's your character's name? I always forget. Lisette, that's... I have a hard time keeping in track of who's who. I would kick a puppy to restore my stars and friends. Well, here's the thing about that Sambiaku. I just got your name, Sambiaku, and 300 N. Would I kick a puppy to bring my friends back to life who had died? I'd consider it. Because a puppy can heal from that, as horrible as that action is. But when you end lives and stars and the fates of others to do it, you know? Okay, here's Trey. There we go. I'm not forgetting you. If anyone else wants to join, I'm putting on the 60-second counter. War of Light spends all their time cleaning up the Ascian's mess. Yeah. Please don't forget me. What are you guys on now? We're about to do P7. I just got out with my group. I can tag along. Yeah, Des, I would love to have you. I would love to have a group. I can't tell you how happy it makes me to be able to play with people I know. Give me a second, guys. Athena is jubilant, because Virna's jubilant. Dest is Dest. That seems right. I am, like, really bad with names when thinking about people's names. Like, again, character names, for some reason, can stick in my head easy, but people are hard. I mean, my headcanon is that the Warrior of Light is selectively half-blind to Emmett Selk's misdeeds because he helped in 6.0 to such an important degree, and also... You do realize you can hold people accountable and, like, articulate the complication of situation without... And, like, so, I think... No, don't be blind to his misdeeds. Hold him accountable. But also, what happened to Emmett Selk is also a tragedy upon Emmett Selk because it's a byproduct of also being tempered and not having recollections of what things are. So Emmett Selk, this also goes to the whole conversation we had about Tsuyu versus Yotsuyu and who do you hold culpable for responsibility. But don't go half blind. Don't ignore people's misdeeds. Acknowledge them, deal with them, and walk forward from there. But don't selectively choose to ignore the horrors that others participate on others. Azem wouldn't ignore that. If Emmett Selk killed people, Azem wouldn't ignore that. I don't think so. EU gang, I'll watch here. Well, Simon, thanks for watching anyways. If everything has Disney, just be easier, not just for others, but for me too. Yeah, thanks, Des. I appreciate it. I wonder how the NPCs react to Warrior of Light's named Athena. They don't seem to react in any particular way, but yeah, to like if you have a specific name. I agree, Emmett didn't do really bad things. He was doing them in the name of duty, but they were still horrendous things. He died. He did come through at the end for us. Yeah, and the thing is that you also part of the reason that Emmett did what he did was because he was tempered by Zodiark. So there are extenuating circumstances for all his actions as well. They just don't necessarily absolve. The thing is that Soulless Emmett died at 5.0. The Emmett you meet in 6.0 is not Soulless Emmett. He has his memories restored. He is no longer tempered by Zodiark. So, like, it's not the same individual. The same way that Crystal Tower Graha, Crystal Exarch Graha, and Graha when he returns are not all the same person. I will look past it so long as you're willing to help fix it. Well, but you can just say, don't look past it. Just say, the same way that you're willing to work with Xenos without looking past what Xenos does, right? You just say, if you will help fix it, I will take your aid, but I'm not going to ignore your actions. First person to mention the meaning of my name. There you go, yeah. Motto. Without the kanji, I can't tell what the motto means. But fans attracted to him. Goes to the point of Xenos being like, would you rather me have a reason for being this way? Oh, well, now you got me there because Xenos is low-key my best friend. Well, Rin, there's no helping you. Okay, everybody good? Oh, no, Des likes doing Sam. Well, here's hoping that I can main tank again. I might be a dick and I might fight for it if they say, like, if they don't say anything and they keep tank stance on. What is it with you guys and character hot ergo? Like, I'll be genuinely honest. For me, character, like, as much as, like, personality in a relationship and partnership dynamic matters. If it's, like, a character, my attraction to them is visual and not necessarily based on, like in terms of physical attraction. Like, hotness is never gonna, like, ever make me think, like, ignore disposition, personality stuff. But I mean, like, hey, I'm the microcosm here. We're on the internet. The music is fucking phenomenal, but, like, who the fuck is surprised by that? It's fucking awesome, Brian. Also, Brian, did I say good to see you, glad to have you? Because if not, good to see you, glad to have you. Yeah, but that's because villains get to break norms. Of course villains get to be charismatic and interesting. There's a reason for it. They get to be the other. Fuck yeah. Everybody ready for this? Is this what became of the keyword? How dreadful. If you will not leave, then you shall become mine. I'm assuming that's center, or is it forward? Oh, okay. Noted. What's P8's music if this is P7's? I'm just a stranger, we are strangers. Wait, why is that oh no, okay. Okay. Okay, that's back, not just mid. Bows of the Abyss. Okay. This is gonna be an interesting Savage. Ugh, what a cruel fate. Also, this is just getting more and more fucking eldritch. Cool. Now I understand the tree attacks more. Those look like Bjelt from Beirut from Berserk. Spark of life. Eyes are glowing. Interesting. Anything up there? No. I sense a convergence of Aether. Beware what they may spawn. Oh, yep, there. Okay, interesting. Okay, AoEs. Okay, so they're new dangers. I get it. You get okay, straight lines for birds. Ooh. I love how much fucking movements are in these fucking raids. So fucking much. I may make mistakes, but I learn from them. Hemitheos Holy. Is that an AoE raid wide? Yeah, the Hemitheos attacks, I think. we get next? What we getting? We getting burbs? Nope. What? Ah, I see. Spark of life, got nothing to worry about there. I hope that healer's not waiting for LB3. Maybe that healer should use the LB3. I keep getting think that healing is going to go into its close smash. Not healing, holy light. Okay. Oh, I was too late on that. Oh, hey, that was actually in time. I was not expecting my arms to last so long. Oh boy, I'm gonna get fucked. I don't know why I didn't get fucked. Heal limit by 3, baby! I'm sad there wasn't as strong of a, I feel like, a phase change. I mean, like, I know there's, like, the platform stuff, obviously, but... I do appreciate that they put, like, meaningful fade shades, though, in, like, P5, and I'm assuming going to be P8, though. Or at least in P... I guess in P5. They might not put it in P... There's a little bit of the P4 theme. I guess P1 through 4. Oh, I fucked that up. I fucked that up. I was not paying attention. I got so focused on thinking about P4 for a second. Come to Abyssos. We got Uncle Bunkle, Gorgons, and a tree. Oh, I don't know why I pulled him off. I should have just let the other guy had it. That would have been fine. That was just me trying to... Oh, fuck, I don't have any mana. We're just gonna waste that limit break anyways. He was right. Now the real question. What is P8? Oh, I'm not gonna... Oh, am I gonna make it? Oh, no, nope. Oh, that was bullshit. I was thinking that was going to go off first and you'd run around them afterwards. Yeah, definitely more arena playing with. That sounds like a Lala thing to say. Yeah, Rin, here's the thing. With the internet, you can't tell a lot of sarcasm. The other thing is I've seen a lot of people go from ironic sarcasm to serious over a course of time. So when people make even ironic or joking statements about that, I tend to respond in by just being like, nah. If you're saying that, this is what you're saying. Which is very killjoy of me. But that's one of those things that I also just like, especially because I think the MSQ wholeheartedly is with me on. That's why I stand so ardently. But no, you're. The thing is, I don't know you're being completely ironic. Is the thing, Ren? Oh, I didn't win either of those with an 84 or 7. Jesus. That sucks that I win it on one of the fights that I like, because I think that's been my least favorite fight so far. I mean, obviously I did worse on it than the others, but also I just like mechanically it's good, but I didn't like it as much as the others. I couldn't tell you why. It's basically the same thing with a little bit more variance on the platform. The moment Abyssos was slain, the flow of Aether and Pandemonium focused keenly on this location, creating a tunnel of sorts through which we could quickly convey ourselves. It was almost as we were ushered here. This space was created with care and concealed with the powerful wards. Only a keyword would have been able to detect it, and even then with great difficulty. Ergo... If only I could restore Tartaros to order, but I'm afraid this is the most I can manage with such power as remains to me. It has been too long, Master Lahabrea. Likewise, Keyword Abyssos. I should not just be surprised you were able to break free of Hesperos' spell, even diminished as you were. It was not an easy task, even with your aid. His curses dig into one's heart, creating a storm of emotions that is all too easy to become lost in. Only by chance did a fragment of myself remain, illuminating a path through the madness. And thus am I able to appear before you now. Even while my body was powerless to resist Hephaestos' commands, some small part of my logical mind stood alone in defiance. It even managed to speak to the outside world. Oh, it was her, wasn't Athena? Unless they're setting up the idea for Athena. The report, that was you. Doubtless you recognize my voice from the many times I've called out to you. The hope that those pleas would not fall on deaf ears was all that kept me from succumbing to hopelessness. But I have a greater purpose here than simply saying my farewells. There's something you must know, that the tragedies of the past do not repeat in the present. Forgive me for what I'm about to do, Master Lahabrea, but the story must be told. 'Tis the only way to understand Hephaestos' fixation on Erechthonios. No longer can you hide your heart away. Hephaestos? No, the masked man marks him as Lahabrea. Master Lahabrea had brought an end to Lady Athena's life and sealed away a part of his memories and emotions within Hephaestos, called it. There are my recollections of the moments following. The recollections of the moments following. And you truly have no intention of revealing the truth to Erechthonios. My lesser half is now buried where none can find it. We would be wise to. Well, he's Lahabrea. My lesser half is now buried where none can find it. We would be wise to do the same with our memory of this day. Blood should not sway the spirit so, but Athena's teachings have warped the body. I fear he would see our star burned to keep his mother safe. The boy. Erechthonios believes that he feels love, but he is shackled by dependence. He cannot bear the truth. His dependence makes it all the more important to be open with him. He will seek answers about his mother's loss, which shall inevitably lead him to you. Are you willing to accept the blame for Athena's death? Are you willing to accept your son's hatred? If that is what is to come to pass, then so be it. Better to be burdened with hatred than the knowledge that Athena thought his body and soul mere tools to be used and discarded. Oof. Nope, Athena's the dick. Even were I to tell him what his mother plotted, he would ever seek reasons to believe that the true fault lies with me, or with him. Should he merely hate me, he will remain unfettered by doubt, free to serve the star far from his parents' shadow. Pandemonium, mommy. Eorzean loved his mother more than life itself, and yet, what a dreadful truth you've borne all this time. Such is La Habrea's nature. Every action, every word a solution to life's great dilemmas, and none to spare for his own. What I have revealed to you is but a small portion of a larger picture. I shall leave it to La Habrea to paint the rest for you, and for Eorzean, I hope. Thank you, Agdistis. I've always admired you. You know, what choice did I have when you sacrificed so much to guide our star to the heavens? Thanks, Sambiaku! Hesperos had doubtless sensed what his final keyword had fallen. We should return to the surface before he moves to strike us here. If we are to face him, we must be prepared to bring out our full strength to bear. You're never gonna have a raid that's not interesting. Yeah, every single one has major cosmology implications or major story revelations. Actually, I want to really quick look up something. Agdistis is a deity of Greek, Roman, and Anatolian mythology who possesses both male and female sexual organs. They're closely associated with the Phrygian god. Let's see if there's any examples of why they picked them. There's also the Agdistis moth, which I guess we could go with the tree. Oh, here we go. Their androgyny was seen as a symbol of wild and uncontrollable nature. It was this trait which was considered threatening by the gods and ultimately led to her destruction. Man, there's a lot going on with androgyny stuff. 2 origin stories for Agdistis. According to Parsian, Zeus unknowingly fathered Agdistis, a superhuman being who is both man and woman, with Gaia. In other versions, there was a rock called Agdo, which Gaia slept upon. Zeus impregnated Gaia there. The gods were afraid of the androgyny. Interesting. Interesting. Agdistis was ever a bold woman, even in the final moments, that she would unearth the secrets of my past for all to look upon. Still, full glad am I that she faced you as her last opponent. I could think of none more worthy to send her soul off to the other side. Let's get into P8. Oh, P8 is the tubulators that me and Neri were talking about. The vision you saw told the story far more eloquently than I ever could. Athena was consumed by her research and was willing to sacrifice her own child if it hastened her progress. She did not offer him a position here out of a sense of love or pride. It was merely because she knew he would be the most pliable test subject. I see now why you hid the truth from him. I cannot say with certainty that Eorzean could handle the weight of such betrayal after holding his mother on a pedestal for so long. Unfortunately, it seems not even her death was ensured his safety. Hesperos has taken up Athena's research and succeeded in creating a hemitheoi. I know not what his ultimate end is, but 'tis plain it is connected with the resurrection of Athena. That knowledge alone is sufficient to direct our next course of action. As for the rest of your story, we shall hear it as after we return to Eorzean to safety, in accordance with Agdistis' last wish. Very well. I can at least assure you our finding him shall prove relatively simple, now that Hephaestos can no longer bend Pandemonium to his will. There is but one place left for him to find refuge, the Black Heart of Tartarus, where Athena built her testing compound. We can assume that Hephaestos will offer a fierce resistance, and must focus my every effort on securing the safe means of approach. We got this. Lob Hebrea, I would ask that you assume the duty of summoning Lendriel's phantom warriors. I have no objections, but my ability to fight within Tartarus will be greatly diminished in any case. However, I wish to deal the final blow to Hephaestos myself. There's no need to dirty your hands with such a deed. I take it then you have no intent to seal him away as before. The presence I felt when I encountered Hephaestos bore little resemblance to the entity I created. By his own hand, he has become something far more wicked, and the same magics that once shackled him may very well shatter before the power he wields. On my pride as a researcher, I am loath to repeat the same mistake twice. I will not see these events play out again, and so he must be extinguished. Oh, that's awful still. I was hoping it might get better. Well then, I shall open the way forward. May we finish this together. Oh, we already got P8? That was quick. It's interesting how much P1, the Abyssos, is the exact same cadence as, in terms of like, the information between getting a thing and unlocking a thing as Asphodelos is. It's like a ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, bum. Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Ba-bum-bum. If Hephaestos truly means to continue Athena's research, then Eric Thonios is indispensable to his goal. He is safe, but for how much longer I cannot say. The end is in sight. Return to me safely, my friend. Okay, final request. If anybody wants to, you got 60 seconds until we start. I'm gonna check. Okay, I'm gonna also if anybody wants to just farm, I'm gonna have to farm P5, P7, and potentially P8, depending on if the armor drops. I'm also gonna be, ooh, I can finally get to do more of my normal raid roulettes on the reg too. That'll be fun. I mean, I could have been doing it anyways, but I just played them so many times. Okay. Let's do a ready check. Okay, Destiny. Feels like they're really figuring out like the cadence they like. Well, I mean, the thing is Eden was in the same ballpark. I think they figured it out a while ago. I think it's more that at some point it's like also a template thing where it's like it's a lot easier to produce content when you know the cadence of it and what the expected amount of work for each thing will be. Is the 12 mixed in with this patch? No. If you're talking about Mists of the Realm and Agalea, or the sequel to Agalea, what is the fucking that is next patch. It's always raid, alliance raid. The .0 is raid, the .1 is alliance raid, the .2 is raid, the .3 is alliance raid, the .4 is raid, the .5 is alliance raid. The charities. Greek mythology. So the three charities in Greek mythology are I'm forgetting their name. Agalea, Eorzean, and Hesiod. Oh, sorry, no, it's not Hesiod. Agalea, Eorzean, and Thalia. So the next Mists of the Realm thing will be either something like Thalia or Eorzean. It may not literally be. It may be like Euros, Eurosine, or sorry, not Eorzean, Eurosine, Euphrosyne, which is joy. Thalia, which is blooming. I wonder if Thalia will be the final one, because like Thaliac. I wonder if they'll have to change that actually, because of the same. And Walker and Shadowbringers at a very similar pace in general. Yeah, well, I mean, actually, if you look at Stormblood and Heavensward, they've been having a very same cadence. Endwalker and Shadowbringers had a almost like identical cadence in some ways. Heavensward and Stormblood had very, very similar cadence as well. But yeah, it's literally if you do at they basically have a rough like way of how their expansions tend to go, and then they kind of play with it from there. What is this eighth circle? Are we just gonna be fighting Hemitheos? Yeah, Hemitheos.
Erechthonios is mine.
Oh, he does have a
Heart
voice
and
line.
Soul. And with your death, none will be left to stop me.
Interesting that he still has his head. Perfect imperfection. Hephaestos. Hephaestos. Wait, actually, did it say Hephaestos or does it? I'll be honest. So far, the music's not as much of a banger. I like it, but it's not. I don't love it.
Rest eternal in the dark depths of this prison. From fulgent flame my servants rise.
Interesting.
Out of my sight! Leave naught but ash in your wake.
Phoenix is going to be circle, but it's going to be... Okay, Phoenix's sides. Dragon straight.
A fitting death. Behold the fruits of sacrifice.
Oh, lordy lord. Okay. He's just gonna start growing shit, apparently. Reminds me of Zervan.
You will know my rage.
Okay, interesting. Oh, no, there's a bit of delay on it. Okay. So... Okay, back to normal form.
Perish in flame's embrace.
Fourfold fires! Interesting. Okay, that's actually really important. Someone make a note of that. Oh,
Go forth and sate your boundless hunger.
Fourfold fires. Oh, okay. And that was bad. And then you have to look where the dragons go. Because they use the term fourfold a bunch in the music, but they never explain what fourfold means, and fourfold typically just means fourfold, like 4 times. So this proves that they mean fourfold fires in this way, using it literally that way. Because the context for the lyricalism doesn't make as much sense. I'll explain what I mean. If fourfold knowing, no end in sight. So, four knowing, no end in sight, right? Or fold. You're talking about the Ascians Shadowbringers theme.
I shall see my wish fulfilled.
Okay, this guy's just reminding me of Wesker from fucking RE5 at this point.
Pray to be consumed.
Interesting. You are a Gorgon, and now you will be gone. Ectothermos. That's not good. Couldn't it have been Endothermos? I guess that probably still would have been problematic.
sear flesh from bone.
Oh, okay. Like, are they painting cubes? Where's this going? Okay. Oh, that's not good.
Leave naught but ash in your wake. Out of my sight.
Oh, I'm gonna get hit by that? That's fine.
Behold the fruits
If you are off tanking, turn off your tank stance. I guess if you're bad at turning it back on and there's going to be an ad in the fight, don't necessarily, but I think you should be able to evoke and it'll be fine. But in general, the fact that people don't think about turning it on is worrying.
You will know my rage. Praying before a god.
I'm going to be honest, so far, P8, most underwhelming of them. I like it, but it's the music's been kind of underwhelming.
Perish in flame's embrace. Go forth and sate your boundless hunger.
Ooh, okay, this is an interesting challenge.
From fulgent flame my servants rise. Let's seep sorrow into your heart.
Oh, I did that too early. Wait for it.
I shall see my wish fulfilled.
And Snaky Boy.
You are prey to be consumed.
Issa, good to see you, glad to have you. Des, Plat, someone, anyone, limit break, I don't even care.
Leave naught but ash in your wake.
Thank you, Des.
I tire of this.
It is a flat percentile, does not matter if you do it at 20% or at 30%. And if we, better to do it earlier if we don't think we're gonna wipe, because then we might get another bar. Yeah, this feels more like this should have been P7 in some ways. I'm like, I'm assuming that Savage is going to have a really interesting phase change or something, hopefully, because I'll be honest, that was a pretty underwhelming finale for Abyssos. Tap the Asian theme on jazz. The song was Amnesis Aniter. Or Amnesis Academia remix. Yeah, probably. Yeah, no, I recognize the motifs. It's not a problem of the, it's not a problem of, oh, I don't recognize them. Yeah, like, I could hear, like, the heart of, aspects of other part of the endwalker's theme. Oh! Minis and Erchthonios. I'm not getting it! But it's not as hype for a battle theme. It's not that that would have been a great dungeon theme. That would have been an awesome dungeon theme. But as a, I can't say I was a fan of that as a theme for P8. Especially because they fucking had it there. I know I'm gonna be running this fight a bunch anyway, so I don't even mind that I don't get the minion. Nice, Ravio. I got the minion last run, first run. Last tier. Hey, Des got it! I still count that as a win. Patch reading, including them working on workshops for personal housing. Also, hello and goodbye. Just want to say I love you all beans. Back to work. Thanks, Issa. Actually, I want to take a second to look at this. That's DNA. Doesn't that look like they're like, it's trying to like evoke DNA? Which explains, also, if you think about it, makes sense for like Hemitheoi and stuff, right? And where are all these things going? What are they even for? All these corrugated tubings. Nice, Jade. Tank token. The chains that the events that led to this moment begin with my error. When out of my mercy I can find you here. Now will I break it and leave no trace of you behind. Are you sure, or is this? Did we actually make it into Tartaros? My understanding was this was going into the entry point of Tartaros, that we aren't actually in there proper. But that also would make sense if this is Tartaros, then maybe P8, 9 through 12 will be something we don't expect. We'll see. This is not over. I thought this was like the interstitial point between us, Abyssos and Tartaros. I see you will not go peacefully. Oh, you took my chess piece, unless I got it too then. Yeah, no, they do say that. As Sismo, they absolutely do say that, but like, it's a kind of ambiguous around it. But maybe it is, and then maybe we just go to Tartarus proper, or maybe what it will find. I'm sure we'll find out in a second. Even a cast-off would uphold his pride, though such an impulse would speak to the overwhelming arrogance of my other half. The name Hephaestos shall grow to eclipse yours. None shall remember the deeds of La Habrea once I fulfill Athena's ambitions and bring Erchthonios' dream to life. You speak as if you care a whit for the boy. Why then do you cower behind him? There are some desires which must not be realized. Athena would see the world destroyed if it means that she could find hers in the ruin. As for Erchthonios, Athena would see the world destroyed if it meant she could find hers in the ruin. Oh, her desires. As for Erchthonios. He knows not what his wish would beget, a truth which you have hidden from him. Do you truly believe a father's role is to deceive and manipulate? My wish. You would claim the name Hephaestos and call yourself his father, yet you bind his mind and body in dark chains. Your words and your pride ring hollow. Athena wanted her son by her side, and as he desires to return there, what wickedness is there in mending a broken family? Athena cared not for Erchthonios beyond how he could serve her ends. You claim to be acting in his interest, but it's plain you are no different. I love the La Habrea signs on the forum. As I ushered Athena to her end, I vowed that my sole mission in life would be to guide this star true. In service to that vow, I silenced the whispers of my heart. I could not nurture a son whilst an entire world looked to me for guidance. For that choice, I bear the responsibility. Yet he is still my son, and I will not suffer you to seduce him with false hope, you. You are not but the bitter dregs of Athena and I, the very worst of us. Mother, no, she, then who? How do I think you're probably right. I've always wanted to shout that. I hear you. I owe you and Themis an apology. Athena, did you ever... And La Brea... Oh, that was a cool cut. I will have my say! Yeah, boy! How? In this madness, his mind was mine. I can't explain. Lendril's words reach me through the haze. Dynamis? Probably not, since he's ancient. They rang loud and clear. As did the words of another, in a voice much like yours, but resounding with truth. Find him! Where? How? When did you master these bonds? Oh, we've endured much worse. You worthless! Yeah! Notice Erechthonius' color is blue, like the crystal, and his father's is red, like his convocation stone. Interesting. Sealed his memories into the stone of the convocation. Fascinating. Fascinating. He removed his memories and stored them within. Interesting. It appears my failures have borne fruit after all. Go to him. You did well, son. Yeah. Where are we? Yeah, so maybe we are in Tartarus, but that brings up the question then what's P9 through 12? Which, I mean, it could be more of Tartarus. With Hephaestos' essence contained in this crystal, we must safely return to Erechthonios above, that he would bind Hephaestos with only half his senses. You quite underestimate his adeptness in the art of internment. It was hardly what I had in mind, but a feat deserving of praise nonetheless. La Habrea looks at Erechthonios with concern. I feel no trace of Hephaestus' poison in your mind, and for a blessing it would appear your body is none the worse for wear. Themis? Themis! I made my way here as soon as I could. I no longer sense Hephaestos, and the forces assailing Pandemonium's barriers have ceased. Are we rid of him for good and all? We kicked his ass. Simple as that. I see. Despite his muddled senses, Erechthonios felt that the seal of Hephaestos that to seal Hephaestos away was the proper course. It was so notable as that. It wasn't so noble as that. I only knew something had to be done, so I acted. La Habrea, was that how you dealt with Hephaestos in the past? Indeed, he was naught but the parts of my memory and soul that I had cut away, a mass of aether without a material vessel. Storing his essence within a crystal was the most logical choice. On that matter, I believe the time has come for you to share the rest of your tale of Hephaestos' creation and Athena's end. I heard your words, but only vaguely, as if from under the surface of a deep pool. My mother wished to use me? I would hear the whole truth. I want to know what happened here and what drove Athena to act as she did. I'm ready. Athena's brilliance outshone us all, even though other members of the Words of La Habrea were as children in comparison. So dedicated to research was she that it was not unheard of her for her to forget meals or even sleep. Her mind was ever grasping for knowledge, and it was in this endless search that she became obsessed with uncovering the secrets of life. There's a parallel here with somewhat with Y'shtola at the moment. There's a background element of some of this, but I don't think they're intentionally tying it. You see, while we cannot conceive life we can conceive life in various forms. The means of creating a soul are beyond our ken. Similarly, though, we can enhance and alter our physical vessels. We have ever been bound to them. Athena's purpose was to shatter that limitation. Such limitations were meant not to surpass. We were not meant to surpass. She sought to enter the realm of the gods. They have gods? Scarce few have the ability to comprehend what such a task entails, let alone the courage to attempt it. For most, the thought would be idle fancy, considered once and then discarded. Not so for Athena. As leader of the Words of La Habrea, I spoke with her often about transcending our being. From an ancient academic perspective, the challenge has plunged countless researchers through the age. Plagued. It was during these musings that I began to formulate a theory, a means by which a person could meld with the creation. The weakness of one would be mitigated by the strengths of the other, and the result could be something greater than we ever imagined. Although it was but a theory, Athena insisted I develop it further, curious about every detail along the way. Our conversation became more frequent, and our platonic relationship grew into something much more. I take it I was born not soon after. This also is interesting when you think about how this is relevant to Zero. Things being half of something, children being half of something. Just so. I believe she bore true affection for me, and I was blind to her hidden intentions. While Pandemonium was built and she requested to lead the researchers, I saw no reason to deny her. Even setting aside our relationship, her accomplishments as scholar made her the obvious choice. However, in giving her Pandemonium, I also gave her free rein to conduct whatsoever experiments she could devise. And when you found out what she was doing, you killed her. Well, but remember, the 12 seem... Well, maybe not. But the thing is, like, the Omphalos has to do with the Unsundered World, I firmly believe. But I suspect that the 12 weren't deities for like to these guys. And if anything, the 12 also seem weaker than some of the kin and kith that we fight. So I would say that the 12 were probably creations of Ana more than anything else, or Hydaelyn specifically, I guess. But it is an interesting note. I think that might have just been flowery words, because I doubt that the ancients actually had gods. But who knows? I mean, they effectively are gods. I made haste to Pandemonium the moment I learned of these hidden chambers. I left Abyssos to keep watch from Tartaros vestibule as I ventured deeper, knowing not what would await me. So I think you're right, Sis. I think it is Tartaros, but like everything they've said so far makes it. I just wonder if this is supposed to be like near the beginning of it, and we're gonna delve deeper, which we'll find out. As for what occurred next, 'tis best to see with your own eyes. And use the Stone of the Convocation. Oh. Is that me? It's a fair point, Laura. You are well aware that out of respect for our neighbors in Elpis, the researchers of Pandemonium are not to be masked. Yet you stand before me with your face covered. What petty defiance is this? What indeed? So quick you are to rebuke me, though you yourself have not set foot in these halls since their inception. You must have known you could not conceal this from myself and Egdistis forever. As well you know that I cannot allow it to continue. I shall say this but once. Release Erechthonios, else I shall have no choice but to strike you down. I would meet my end at the hands of none other. However, ere my time has come, I will have you know the why of it. Then you will not desist. Once you understand what has driven me this far, you shall see the stopping was never an option. The feelings one weigh little against the needs of the entire star. Of course, of that I am well aware, but you did not deign to condescend from your lofty height simply to lecture me as you would a child. You have an interest in my motivations. What possessed Athena, a peerless researcher and mother to the son of the great Laha Brea, to embark upon the path to her downfall? History will demand an answer, but it is you who deserve one. Give me your hand, Laha Brea, and we shall know one another more deeply than ever before. Interesting. Impossible. You bonded your souls. Ascian Prime. Of course. The boundaries between us would cease to be. She offered me everything to be understood. I found myself unable to refuse at that moment. My mind was a storm of questions, yet one roared the loudest. Did Athena ever truly love me? No. I am become thee, memory and mind. This would give her an insane amount of power and control. And I thee. Can you feel it? My heart, all that I am. Yes, as if it were my own. Hard to not lose yourself in that. Just like we learned with the Void Scent. A fathomless desire to dissect the mysteries of life, to transcend our mortal flesh and bleed into a higher plane of existence. An unquenchable thirst for knowledge, not a single thought spared for another, for the star. Better than sex, I'm sure. How disappointing. Yet what is known cannot be unknown. You have beheld my life's work. Try as you might to excise the memory, the seed of desire remains, and when it takes root, you too shall be consumed by the self-same fervor. I will dig it out. I will dispense with the corruption in my soul ere your rotten insight spreads. What could it possibly be? 'Twas my weakness that let the wickedness fester, but never again. Today I cast aside fickle emotion, and abide in duty alone. Well, if he abides in duty alone. Today I renounce all that I was, and live only as Laha Brea. Well, if that makes sense, maybe he is our Laha Brea. Ah, and there's where the half-mask comes from. Thus did I forsake the part of myself that had been polluted by Athena, sealing it within a crystal. Never did I think I would one day face those memories made flesh. Forgive my bluntness, but your actions bordered on insanity. To go to such lengths to escape your memories, nearly rewrote your very existence. Rest assured, the change did not go unnoticed by our colleagues in the convocation. Igiorm and Emmett Selk in particular made plain the suspicion they harbored. As well they should have. That you escaped with your life was nothing short of a miracle. Why didn't you destroy the crystal then and there? Did you think to one day make use of its knowledge it contained? Wouldn't that just free it? I will not deny such consideration played into my decision, but my main motivation was fear. I had never attempted such a feat before, yeah. The crystal was my sole recourse should something go awry with the remainder of my soul. In hindsight, to cling to it was a mistake born of doubt. Athena must have anticipated that I would resort to such measures, that a prepared vessel beforehand that would accept the dregs of my soul. Hesperos doubtless believed he was performing his duty as a husband and father should, yet in truth he was but a puppet being pulled to and fro by Athena's desires. His goal was not to raise himself high. He thought only of seeing his dear Athena live again, and she might finish what she began. Yet for all of that, he and I were alike. We yet shared a fatal flaw. You see, our need for control blinded us to the other perspectives. While I was enthralled to Hesperos, you called out to me. What say you now? Does La Habrea speak true? I think so. What does your heart tell you? I just want to know one thing. Did you truly believe that hiding the truth was best for me, even knowing how I felt about my mother? The La Habrea I know had a fatal flaw, after all. I'm still not convinced. I have said all that I can say. Now it is for you to choose to believe me or not. The La Habrea I know holds duty above all else. I would sooner prostrate myself before an erupting volcano than place my fickle emotions in his path. That's a reference to the short story. When you return to the surface, you'll doubtless don that mask once more. So before we climb out of this forsaken pit, I suppose I should say, thank you, Hesperos. Wish he could be more than that. It's not the man that he is. Hesperos was more than an imitation of La Habrea. He was quite literally a part of him. But La Habrea to me is a man who thinks of naught but his duty. By casting aside the burden that Hesperos represented, he shall become evermore himself, in a way. I have said all that needs to be said. From this moment forward, I pledge my heart shall not lead me astray. I've heard enough. I've heard enough. There is more I would yet discuss, but we should first return to Pandemonium's gates. I'd gather my thoughts that way. I mean, also the background too makes me think that it's probably Tartarus. Like, I mean, I think it is, but that just like, where then is P9 through P12? Is it back in the real world, and that's what like the setup for with Claudian was? I owe you an apology, Lendriel. It was due to my own experience that Hesperos was so easily able to take hold of my mind. I also owe you thanks. If you and Themis hadn't chosen to brave the chaos occurring in Pandemonium, then I would have never known La Habrea's story, my father's story. 'Twas a tale I too was fascinated to hear. I very much look forward to speaking with Azem upon my return. I can't help but wonder how much of this he foresaw. I'm afraid I cannot allow that, Elidibus. So long as you retain control of Pandemonium, there is work to be done. But of course, I shall first free the remaining warders and restore this place to its former glory. Using the facilities in Tartaros, we should be able to reverse the changes. Yeah, definitely. Okay, it is Tartaros, yeah. Changes made to their bodies and minds. I shall stay behind to oversee the process. This is all well, but I must yet learn why I was considered the key to Hephaestos' experiments, and how he intended to revive Athena. Such questions are best left unanswered. In fact, I forbid the pursuit of that knowledge. The boundary between man and creation shall never again be crossed, and I intend to destroy the crystal containing Hephaestos' essence, let its mistakes never again repeat. I see no reason to gainsay your judgment. There is yet another matter of your crystal, however. Truth be told, I had not considered its origins until I saw the one containing Hephaestos' aether. I was struck by how wholly different they were. There is another? Yo, we got this blue one. It's like yours, right? But it ain't got no stars on it. While imbuing a crystal with memories is a simple process, storing a message, a warning even, would be something altogether more complex. This also means that someone besides the present company, and Azem, was aware of the plot unfolding within Pandemonium. Then why would they not make themselves known, even now? No threats remain. Perhaps it was one of the other wardens. We shall question them after they are freed. That task may take a long time. A resource I'd rather not steal more from you now. Return at your leisure and we will share our results then. You've done more than enough for the time being. I am of the same mind, leaving the loose ends to us and continue upon your journey. Or, if you are so inclined, take a much-needed repose. This talk of journeys smacks of Azem. As well it should. He has pledged to keep moving until he has seen every corner of the world. If you do find yourself with a spare moment, you might bring the crystal of yours to La Habrea. He might be able to offer insight. Until then, my friend. Hey, Sambyaku! I think it might have been my least favorite. Its music was a little underwhelming. And its mechanics were good. But, like, also a lot of red and fire and, like, I don't know. Less interesting to me. I think right now, my favorite, it might be inverted, because it might literally go, my favorite is, like, in order P5, P6, P7, P4, P8. Yeah, I think it descends. The crystal that hangs from Erechthonios' waist was a gift from me I made in the hopes that it would spark growth in his aptitude for magic. 'Tis plain he no longer requires it, but I see no reason he cannot wear it for a while longer. I've been wondering about that. I've been thinking about that crystal there. Especially because if you look at it, the symbol in it is the Hydaelyn symbol where La Habrea's symbol comes from, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Well, the music, I mean, a little bit, I guess. It's Academia and Niter, a remix, plus some of the Endwalker themes are mixed in. I look forward to returning with the crystal, but worry not, I shall try my level best to stave off the loneliness while you're gone. As you may have noticed during our battle, La Habrea's mask crowns me when I'm transformed. It is said that we manifest in a way that reflects our innermost selves. I had thought the mask a symbol of the change that bound my heart, but recent events have caused me to reconsider that assumption. So there we go. They're actually mentioning it. It has AR tracks too. Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate celebrations like that, but, like, the music wasn't strong enough for that fight to, like, be, like, super noticeable and super kick-ass for me. Like, I didn't get hype from it, despite knowing those songs and being fans of those songs. Back to Aporia. I'd have to re-listen to it too to like spend some time listening to it to be like maybe I'll grow to love it. But like that's my initial impression. With P1 through 4, I really liked P1 and I really liked P4. With this, I really liked P5 and I really liked P6. And then I liked well enough P7 and 8. Maybe Savage is another song. Yeah, and that's only normal. That's to say nothing of what the Savage is like. Wife is in Lendriel. Excuse me, as if I'm not my usual chipper self, but we have not been without our difficulties in your absence. You see, communication with the airship professor Claudian commissioned with it for his research was lost some time ago, and now we have quite lost track of where he might be. And to make matters worse, Nemgigi has just sent word that of an unusually large amount of energy coming from somewhere within the ethereal sea. I was just on my way to the Aegioscope, in fact. Please, you must come with me. Night, Rin! Don't forget, you can looking for group me or other people. Whoa! Why is it appearing in our ethereal sea? What? Is it real? Pandemonium in our ethereal sea. That's not good. That's really, really, really not good. Why is it that whenever the danger visits the world, you're never far behind? Oh, it's fucking Fortunal. We're getting Fortunal in this. That's awesome. And you two, Professor Claudian's assistants, I take it. As you arrived before me, I take it you are involved in this. I would thank you to furnish me with an explanation. It's a great question. Now, when I do explore mode on Aegioscope, will it show it, is the question. Sounds good, Rim. It'll be done in a second here. While the research summary you submitted to the forum gave us no cease for concern, these details are alarming. The professor's last message indicated he was on his way to Az's Law, but we know not whether he ever reached his destination. A rash endeavor even for Claudian, but he has ever allowed the thrall of discovery to cloud his better judgment. We have no recourse but to entreat Ishgard's aid in the searching for him. As for the unsightly fortress which materialized in the ethereal sea, Pandemonium, was it? It cannot be left alone. For the time being, information regarding this matter must be strictly controlled so as to minimize panic. We will gather those with knowledge of the ethereal sea and continue monitoring it for further irregularities. You two submitted a detailed report to the forum at once. Nemgigi's good at that. At present, we have far more questions than answers. Nevertheless, I would ask for you to assist your assistance at such a time, that our investigation is concluded. Very good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must appraise the forum of what has occurred here. I wasn't thinking about why that trailer shot wasn't in. I should have been thinking about that. Just what we need. The most. Professor Claudian remains unaccounted for. He even brought the crystal with him. We are left with scarce few straws to grasp at. While I am but a lowly assistant, even I can see that our two current problems are likely related. The same party or phenomena may be responsible for both. Conversely, I see now that my unexperienced imagination failed to do Pandemonium's pitiless spires justice. I can only wonder, if the facility itself traversed the ages, did the creations within do the same? What are the keywords? But answers to these questions shall come in time. I am sure, for now, I must do as Master Fortunel had asked and write the report. As for you, Lendriel, I pray, get what rest your responsibilities will allow. When next we call upon you, I wager we shall need you in prime condition. That's where they're fucking ending it? Assholes! Okay, guys, I guess I'll see you in April. When 6.4 drops. Ugh. We've got 8 months until we get this concluded. Fuck me. But holy shit, that was awesome. And it's going to be really exciting to see what the next steps are for both Pandemonium, but also you think about Mist of the Realm and all sorts of other goodness. And it's also interesting how there seems to be some metaphysical things that they're bothering to tie in with between Mist of the Realm, Pandemonium, and MSQ. Blown away that you called what? Hydra. Rin, what was your point? I wonder what the knowledge after everything is. The person in black of the art actually Fortunate. What? Is the person in the back of the art actually Fortunate? No, the person in the back is supposed to be Athena. I would bet good, solid money the person in the back is supposed to be Athena. We explained with the white robes. And that figure also has longer hair and seems to be feminine. But I mean, like, also Athena didn't have longer hair, so. But also, I think part of that's not even just that the white robes. It's also just the shadow. We'll see, though, in time. When will the 12 come back to play? 6.3. Like I said, remember, Cathra, I explained this earlier, right? It is 6.1, 0, 1, 0 is raid, 1 is alliance, 2 is raid, 3 is alliance, 4 is raid, 5 is alliance. So 6.3. So that will be in December. Oh, I was mentioning I wanted to see your speculation for MSQ, so I was gonna go watch MSQ playthrough. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Honestly, the thing is that here's the thing about speculation, right? There's a lot of things that we can point out that is explained, like with Pandemonium, there's a lot of things here that you can try to guess at, but the thing is they could play it so many different ways that, honestly, speculation isn't as useful as the things that we fundamentally learned that we can take as baseline assumptions in some ways. Because you can gesticulate wildly to how you think it might go down, but, you know, like, when we look at certain things, right, like, we knew it was the Four Fiends, but the question, right, that the Four Fiends were coming, when we saw those elemental things back in 6.1, we could have never predicted the nature of Zero, right? We could have guessed at it, but the thing is you'd be guessing wildly. You could have guessed, you could have pondered, like, will the trials be the Fiends, and then the dungeon boss will be Scarmiglione or something like that. And it's like, you can, but to what extent is it useful, and to also what extent do you just look like a dumbass? My opinion on Zero is I really like Zero. I really like Zero a lot. I think I like Zero less than some other people, mostly because I don't care for people who are super, super mercenary. Like, I don't find that, and I find that a abrasive and mistrusting feature. And for that reason, a lot of people are loving Zero for how mercenary she is. So, like, I think it's a great feature. I think it's a great character notion, but, like, it's weird to me to love her for being like, nah, I ain't gonna help you. Like, I get, like, accepting, like, okay, that makes sense, but, like, Zero is really cool and one of my favorite new characters. I think I called was Pandemonium being in Primordial Chaos under Tartarus for the final tier. But the Ethereal Sea isn't Primordial Chaos. Or in this case, the Ethereal Sea under Tartarus. But, like, Ethereal Sea, I mean, it isn't in the, we also don't know that the Ethereal Sea is what's beneath. I mean, like, I guess you literally go down, right? So the thing is that the Ethereal Sea being beneath Tartarus, here's the thing, I guess, though. Like, spiritually, I see your point. But, like, also, I don't know, that this seems an interesting little one. She's literally Vampire Hunter. She got the hat and everything. Yeah. Vampire Hunter D. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of other characters with that appearance, with that kind of hat. But that, yeah, there's definitely a lot of basis for that. So the thing for me is I really love her as a character. And I'm not even like, but she's a dick. I'm like, no, her mercenary attitude and where she's coming from totally makes sense. And I think it's great characterization and differentiates her. I just don't like, I don't look to her being a dick at times and being like, yeah, my queen for that reason. But yeah, she definitely super Vampire Hunter D. Lot of things. I mean, we fucking had Alucard in P4, so. I'm gonna go see if they fixed the leave turn in. I'm really feeling like Zero's gonna be the next Scion. The thing is, everything about how they're framing her is that she is a new Scion, right? Like, there's no reason to introduce that character if you're only gonna use her for a brief period of time, in terms of how they've been telling narrative for the past couple of expansions. Now, I think you may have a Gaia 2.0 moment, if you know what I mean. But, no, I think Zero's here to stay for the conceivable future. And I think that also would make a lot of sense if we go to, New World or Mericidia or other shards. I think she's a different perspective and a different characterization that goes a long way. And also we need to start switching up the Scions. Now the one problem is that currently she's at a Reaper and we already have fucking enough DPS. So we need, like, if we want to switch out Thancred or you want to switch out Urianger more and add more new blood in, you have to make sure that you have meaningful placements. Female Cloud, I'll do it for price. Right, but I fucking hate Cloud when early Cloud. I hate Cloud because he's being a dick and won't just fucking help. So like to me, like that's not a reason, you know, like so it's nope, still broken. So this is what it looks like for me. Getting super late here. I gotta work in the morning, gotta bounce. I was running those 2 raids with y'all. Yes, thank you, Des. So I'm gonna hop off here. My plan is either I'm gonna like sleep or go get food or something, and then I'm just probably gonna just stream playing Island Sanctuary and low key it for whatever amount of time. Thank you all for joining me in this wonderful journey through. If you haven't watched it already, go check out our Asphodelos recap if you need a reminder of that. I will also probably try to create an Abyssos recap sooner rather than later. I'd rather them switch out Alphino. I feel like he's been with us for so long. I mean, but like, yes, AR and Heaven's Word, but like, I mean, if you're gonna switch out Alphino, you need to switch out Alice. I really don't think you can do one twin without the other, in my opinion. And then we also you're downing us another healer, which means if you took out Urianger and Alphino, you'd have literally only use Shola, which limits the writing that they can do. So, I think if anything, you lose the twins. Now, I would say there's a lot of story setup that Alphino will go on to be an important member of, like, Charlian. But I just can't bear to give up Thancred and Urianger. I love them too much. I love them too, but to each thing a time and a place. Urianger is one of my favorite characters, but, like, there also has to be a time to be able to move on and grow and change. I think if we find a way to permanently connect the first to the source, or actually maybe more accurately, connect from the source to the 13th to the first, because the walls between the 13th are so fucky. I can imagine a world in which that Thancred goes and just lives with Reen, and like that, like that's what he does. Now, if those natural pathways existed, there's no reason that he couldn't just come join us whenever, you know, or what have you. But I suspect, based off of just gut feel and some of the stuff from the MSQ, that we're gonna start seeing new Scions and a slight changing of the guard as time goes on. And remember, though, you also always need to have 8 if they want to do a trial, if they want to do trust trials again. No, it's a good point, though, Sambiaku. I guess that could work with New World or Mericidia. If there's a new physical range job in Mericidia or something, like, you know, I'm just saying, like, could be, I don't know, at least something like a blitzball player, then, you know, that could always work. Fine, as long as Graha would be a best boy. Graha is, if there's one Scion I'm not worried about switching out anytime too, it's Graha Tia. If anything, I would be more, like, surprised if, like, we saw, like, Kryl become an official Scion. Now, I don't think so, because of her neat requirement for the group of, like, working for Baldesion. Like, I know Graha Tia does too, but he's different. But people I could see being new Scions of people that we know already, Kryl, and in terms of like being in us in battles, like that's what, like in content battles, Kryl, Hori Boulder, Coltene, those are some of the main ones. Fordola. Yo, we better get Blitzball. What the fuck? It depends on who you ask. There are two thoughts on Blitzball. It's either oh fuck, give it to us now, or oh fuck, if you make it, I'm gone. And I don't blame either. But that said, a Blitzball job or a Blitzball game, I am someone who is in favor for, much to the chagrin of many others. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Hey, don't forget that you can support us by becoming an Archon, giving us $1, and you'll get all sorts of fun emojis. For those of you who have access to emojis, if you want to send them out right now, that'd be lovely. If you don't want to join our Patreon, you can support us, and you'll get your name in the banner above, as well as other fun rewards. I have to show myself, mostly because I need to eat. Deadpool's not here, so I can't shield Deadpool. Oh well. If you like watching lore content, come check us out on our YouTubes. Watch our videos there. If you like written lore, go to eorzeanarchives.com. If you want to come hang out with us and talk with us and join us in all sorts of fun conversation and challenges, why not come join us over on the Discord? My mods are not here because they're both asleep. But yeah. So they cannot put in links. But, that said, you definitely should do that. The Eorzean Archives Discord. Apparently there's a native-looking gear being added this patch. New World hints. I mean, there's a ton of New World hints. There's the role quest. There's tons of setup for Mericidia. There's tons of setup in the New World over the past, from 6.0 to the present. From 5.4 to the present, really. Plus everything that came before. So they could play it a bunch of different ways. Okay, well, end the night saying that 6.2 made me even more optimistic for the future of 14. Yeah, and I suspect 6.3 will be, and I suspect that I suspect that until we get to the end of the 6.x patches, we're gonna have somewhat conventional narratives that are gonna kind of play out broadly in the way we think they are, and then something's gonna right turn to surprise us pretty heavily. That said, we'll see in time. And with that, I've been Elio Forceron, and I'll see you guys soon, especially if when you hang out and do Island Sanctuary.